Good evening everybody. I hope you're doing well this fine Sunday evening. It's a real Sunday this time, not one of my fake Sundays from earlier. Let me stop on through into the main scene. Good evening one and all. I hope you're having a lovely weekend so far. Good evening. What have we got on the chat? I've got lots and lots of people in. So let me just say good evening to Drizzling Rose, Det, Stopcraft, Pagels, Mushy's in, Silent Mouse, good evening to you, Metcat, and the dude everyone likes, Darkwing, Drizzling Rose, got the great Papalina, good evening to you. Got you, if I missed anything there, got your dinner and a cold beer, perfect into the stream, excellent Silent Mouse, and the Cow King, good evening to you, Apophis, Hezekan, lots and lots of people in. It is Sunday, right? All the days meld together. It's very confusing, certainly. I always forget which day it is myself. Every day is a Sunday at the moment, definitely. And Doc Otter, good evening to you. And Metket, Creatives, got lots of people. Gwillian's in. If I have missed anyone, I do apologise. To resub from the gift sub, can sadly not continue to pay. Oh, no problem at all, Silent Mouse. All support is doubly appreciated, so thank you indeed. You decided to play Harry Potter again on mobile. Interesting. How is that? I've never heard of that one. And Robin, good evening to you. Hulk Hockey, wow, lots of people. Wizards Unite. Sunday Fun Day, fake Sundays are called Fun Days, something like that, definitely. You decided to venture outside of the classic WoW into retail and got your grubby hands on Chad Trolls, otherwise known as Zandalari. Made a paladin a few days ago and it's already level 55. The XP buff is bonkers. It is really fast. Me and my wife have been playing, and this is the first time she's ever played, and we are already at level 35. We've hardly done anything. Obviously, we've got the whole recruiter friend bonus as well on top of that, so it's definitely going very fast. John, good evening to you. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, it's pretty bonkers when you level up that quickly. I mean, we have literally just done Red Ridge Mountains and just started in Duskwood, as well as doing the Pandaria starting line, and that's it, basically. The panda levelling idea, exactly, Drizzling Rose. It's really good fun. Me, my wife, and my son all started pandas together, and it's nice because my son has one on Draenor, and we have ours on Shadowsong, and we can still play together, which is really nice. It's a shame we couldn't do cross faction as well. That would be definitely good. Exactly, Mushy. She has just started after, was it, however many years, 15 years, the last game she played last time was EverQuest, where she played a druid, so it's been a long time. So it's lovely to be able to actually share World of Warcraft with her. Finally, I think so, Mushy. Well, this is actually the first time in a long time she's actually had any free spare time. It's been a crazy 15 years up until this point. Something like that, Darkwing. And SD Variations, good evening to you. Hope I'm staying safe for the pandemic. I am indeed. Recently someone's been, what have I missed? Hold on. Been tanking flask and pop prices on the auction house, Area 52, drive the price. My guess is that buying up low, en masse, transferring to another server, anything you can do to combat this. Alchemy has been profitable for months now because of this. It's interesting you should mention that. We're talking about market prices in the Wowhead blog, so we'll go and talk about that a bit later. The blog is actually live. Let me just get the link going on that. Wowhead. So the latest blog is live, and we do talk about markets there, particularly Xenonthid as well. So we'll go over and have a look at that a little bit later. Let me just turn this up a little bit so I can hear it. Oh, Hulk Hockey, I completely missed your sub there as well. Thank you very much for that. That's very kind of you. Thank you for your support, Hulk Hockey. I do apologise, I missed that earlier. I just saw it in the corner of my eye. There we go. Holiday emotes for you. Thank you very much for your support. It's very much appreciated. What else have we got? I need more Horde characters. Yes, I definitely do. Hold on, what did I miss? Jealous, wish you could entice your wife to play. Oh, well, it's something that's kind of it's something that requires a bit of time, I think, for you both to be in a position to be able to play, and to have the same inclination as well, certainly. And by initial, you mean leaving for Outland and Northrend. Wow, that's a fairly big initial, isn't it? Certainly. Cookmeat, good evening to you. So I've dipped it into my gold now. I have spent a little bit more on tokens, definitely. So I just need to sort that out at one point. Gwilyn, thank you very much. 22 months. That's almost 2 years. That's absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. That's amazing. Thank you very much. That continued support. That is epic indeed, certainly. And right one too. Good evening to you. Hope you're doing well. Now I can play it from my couch. Don't mean to venture into the world of wizards off of the Harry Potter one. Okay. I'm just scrolling back up again. What else have we got? Can be something. Good evening to you. Did I do an agenda for today? I haven't actually got an agenda as such, but we will look at my gold making. We'll do a bit of relisting of everything on. We'll go through the blog as we have that. Let's bring that up now so that we have that on our screen. So we got that to talk about first and foremost, and then we'll go through my usual gold making after that. Let's just make this a little bit wider. There we go, so everyone can see it. There we go. Long time YouTube watcher here. First time you caught me on Twitch. Oh, excellent, Edwards the Monk. It's lovely to have you here. Remember you saying I work in 3D art. You work in the same field. Oh, excellent, excellent. My basically my BRB screen and my intro screen were done by myself using WoW assets, and I will be looking at potentially doing some actual streams of me doing 3D with WoW. So that's something to look forward to in the future, certainly. Siren's Pew, thank you for the follow. In your experience, a raiding market starts dropping, flasks sell less, and lost nowadays. Various runes don't sell as much. Exactly, I think it is a downward trend now at the moment, certainly. Let's just scroll down till we get the start of the... So, Cow King, thank you very much for your sub. It's very kind of you. Wow, I've missed loads of stuff on the chat. Let me see if I can quickly catch up. But a load of emotes for you. Thank you very much for your continued support. That is very much appreciated. Let me just quickly scroll through in case I missed... You're 400k down. We bought Zenithid at 17 gold each, and Anchorweed at 17 and 70 gold each. Tried to flip, was undercut by half within an hour. Next day it was back down to buy price. I can't stand people around. I think Zenithid is taking a massive plummet at the moment, definitely. We will probably have a look at Blacksmithing Silent Mouse, definitely. And Lizelle, good evening to you. Everyone is doing very well in my family, so thank you very much. Any ideas how you can make 100,000 gold in 14 days? You need it for the WoW tokens. You cannot afford game time these days. That's perfectly doable, execs. It all depends on how much time within those 14 days you have available to spend on WoW. I mean, you could start with something like raw gold farms if you just have the pure time to be able to farm that. But the other thing is, it depends on what position your professions are in and what else you enjoy doing in WoW, and what you can bring to bear and leverage against it would be my main thoughts there. Mr. Weekout, thank you very much for your sub. Tier 2, in fact, that's absolutely amazing. Thank you very much. And Trishan for using your Prime. Thank you both, that's absolutely amazing. That means you get the Samadan Golden Eyes as well for that one, Mr. Weekout. Thank you very much indeed. And Imminent State coming straight in with the Prime as well. Wow, the hype train is really going straight all the way through here. Thank you very much. That is amazing. Thank you indeed. Your support and presence is, as always, eternally appreciated. In just 1 week, the normal herbs went from 8 to 10 gold down to 5 gold on your server. There does seem to be a downward trend, certainly. It's not necessarily always multi-boxes either, Pine and Lakias, because the multi-boxes won't necessarily want to tank prices deliberately, because that is their market. They'll want to keep on selling for a reasonable price. Once the price tanks down too low, then it's not worth even them farming up, certainly. You're only 300k from your Longboy, couple more days and you'll be there. Excellent, It's a Geekage. Thank you for stopping by, and good luck on your final leg of your journey. You have a tailor, netherweed bags, and nice profit. They fly off the shelf. They do. They take a long time to make, though. Raw gold would be best for you, yes. Do you have any guide on hand? Not necessarily for raw gold, but you could look at the add-on by DallarGG. Worth it. Have a look at that, and maybe do... what's the one that we all talk about, which I forget? Is it Skyreach? That's the one. Rasheen, good evening to you. Both have a lot to do with it, and quite a few people know. You're warned about that for 2 weeks with the increase of amount and dropping prices, exactly as Rasheen says. We'll talk about that in the Wowhead blog. Let's go through, and good evening as well. Good evening, and McBailey, good evening to you. Yeah, Skyreach times 10 is good. That's a good start, certainly. Woke up early to get the yard work done so you can catch me. Oh, well, thank you, Johnny Depp. That's very kind of you stopping by. If I have missed anyone and your comments in chat, please do bear with me. It's going through very fast tonight, so if I have missed you, do just say again. Sephorium, good evening to you. Demand for Zenith is not what it was. There is definitely a sort of a... because the raid has been out for quite a while, and I think a lot of even casual guilds have gotten what they need ahead of the curve wise, so maybe people aren't necessarily looking for doing that quite so much. Run the Alphar, Wad and Pandaria and Legion, that's pretty good, yeah, but the progression phase is pretty much done. 460 without the speed set, 440 with, that's a decent set, certainly. Andalia, good evening to you, hope you're doing well. Should we start on the blog at the moment? Otherwise, I'll forever be trying to catch up on chat. So, first and foremost, I want to talk about crafting professions. Obviously, it's one of my favourite things. And Bregfitz has done another video on talking about tailoring, leatherworking, and blacksmithing, and how well sort of the uncanny gear is doing at the moment. So that's kind of like a good starting point if you're thinking of getting into a profession, because those usually have quite a low barrier to entry. You just need to skill those up to the appropriate level, and then if you do have the marks of honour, you can try and get the rank 2s and 3s for that. If you don't, you can still possibly make a profit on your server. So it's a really good way to get started into gold making. And the Shadowlands Alpha is out, so much top guilds don't play the raid anymore. That's true, and focusing on the upcoming stuff, definitely. Spent 500 gold on netherweave cloth before I came online. Good idea. Good evening, Lady Daisy. Hope you're doing well. And Siren's Pew. Good evening to you. Hope to find most recent breakfast. Trying to find my most recent shuffle. That is shuffle. It's the most up-to-date-ish one. There we go. So you made bolts, and Chow's being turned into. Chow is being made into bags. That's excellent. That'll take you a while. There we go. We got a level 1 hype train. Thank you ever so much, everyone. We got a choo-choo frog there. That looks interesting. There we go. And you're not crafting them anymore. You're just trying to sell your stacks. Then you only focus on the daily anchorweed and the healing fury pots. Check the numbers and they are still correct. That's all good. So, talking of crafting professions, Greg's talking of that, which is really worth a watch, and also worth remembering that Uncanny Gear is faction specific, so if you've got a Horde character or an Alliance character, you could possibly look at both markets on your server. Sugar Cubic, thank you for the follow. You made 2,000 braziers and it's still the same. Oh, excellent, thank you, Mushy. It's good to know that that's, the averages are still working out then. You're hoping professions in Shadowlands are not too gated behind rep or something. I have no idea, actually. We don't know yet. I would guess the likelihood is there will be locked behind something like that. Paragon box number 7 open for the day. Very nice, Silent Mouse. Uncanny Gear on tailoring and engineering works for you at the moment. That's a good point, actually. I do always forget engineering for its Uncanny Gear. There's another good video out this week, and that's one by Hecons talking about inscription. That goes through what they do for all their gold making in inscription. It does include a little bit of glyphs as well, but the main part is going through all the compendiums, the uncanny gear, as well as turning the trinkets into veiled crystals as well, which is another option you have with your spare ultramarine ink. Don't talk about inscription, it's your main source of gold. It's not me that's talked about this one, but I am very much enjoying inscription as well. But we will be looking at blacksmithing as well. That's going to be something else to be looking at further. Darays, thank you very much for the follow. Hope you're doing well. Done that 11,000 k, 22 is nice, and 1/3 Paragon box times 11. Wow, that's a pretty decent amount. tell every secret of Inscription right now. Let's spill the beans, Rasheen. I mean, Hecons does a very good job in this video of going through at least the core ones here, so I would definitely give this video a look at, certainly. So on the we already had, doesn't include the tailoring option for Notorious Combatant satin braces, which can be much cheaper to craft. That's right, Siren's Pew. It wasn't updated to have. It's worth bearing in mind that the other braces might be cheaper, but it's not included in my spreadsheet. That's very true. I haven't updated it for that. None to be shared. Doing very good at the moment. Sold 2 Sundering trinkets this week for 15k each, with 12k profits. Contract scrolls still do well as well. The contracts, since the reputation buff, the contracts have been doing well, even for me at my low levels of that, certainly. So let's move on from professions to it before we divulge in too many secrets. But let's talk about Children's Week, which is coming up beginning of May. But your herbs are expensive, yes. I've seen on Shadowsong the herbs are slowly coming down in price, yeah, and the making of the ink with Inscription is another big problem as well. So with Children's Week coming, there's a lot of interesting things we could possibly make here for some gold. Obviously, I've talked about this before, the delicious chocolate cake. I can usually sell that. Well, last year I sold it for 4,000 gold on average. I might be able to sell a few more at that price, but I've got a feeling maybe prices will go a lot lower, like maybe 500 gold or something like that. Runa, good evening to you. Hope you're doing well. And then tying into this and tasty cupcake is also the Maize Royal and small eggs. May well spike in price if they haven't already on your server, because these feed into the delicious chocolate cake. Obviously there's not a huge supply and demand for these, but it is something to think about as a potential gold maker. And we can also do vendor selling as well. The trader Amy, who's in Dalaran, will sell you the brownies, the donuts, the cupcakes and the cake slice, which you get from the lovely cake. So those are all worth maybe doing a little vendor operation on those and selling those. So there's a few things to look for, as well as pets as well. This post I've taken from last year on Reddit, so a lot of this will still be relevant to this year. I don't believe there's any, I haven't heard of anything new being added at this stage. But it will be interesting to see if anything does come out. Obviously, there are also BFA pets in there as well. Maybe for later, do I have the pricing for Mass Mill set up? Didn't find a really good example to set it up. I used the one from Billis Anixia's Reddit post from about a year ago, Krozak. And hi to you, Adriana, good evening to you. Herbs are dropped between 3 and 4 gold each in your server. For you, they are above 5.75 90% of the time. Just don't do Inscription. Or you do it on a second account and you leave that going in the background. Or you leave it sort of like when you're about to log off and you just leave it running. Something like that might work. Yeah, skip Inscription. You got the pregnant prices, but that doesn't update the profit for mass milling, or does it? It should do, Crozet, because that should the mass milling is more to do with the sort of once you've done the mass mill. So I didn't believe isn't mass milling just the same as the regular milling? It gives you the same rates, so I don't think that actually. You know what she's talking about. Skip Inscription. Yes, exactly. There we go. So yes, Children's Week. Basically, there's a few different things here you could possibly make some gold on. Obviously, this is quite well known, so the profit margins may not be very high on your server, or they may be short-lived. So it all depends on whether you can capitalise on something. But that's all for next week, not till the beginning of May. Clotic, good evening to you. Hope you're doing well. And then the other main thing I did want to talk about, which we touched upon earlier, about prices of herbs and things dropping. And there was an interesting Reddit post this week talking about Zenith's price dropping. And we have seen it basically plummet quite a substantial amount. on most servers. If I jump ahead here and we look at, this is Storm Rage over the past 2 months, you can see a downward trend of both the US Realm average and Storm Rage itself. This is quite easy to see because everything is over the maximum of 65,000 that the quantity graph shows, so you can get a nice clean view of both lines here. And Casper, thank you very much for the follow. These are not the inscription droids you're looking for. They have Voltac, but thank you very much. That's very kind of you to say so. And then, as a comparison, looking at the price of Xenothid on Shadowsong on EU, obviously you can see the quantity is a lot lower here because it actually appears on the graph. But it does actually peak up at the top, maximum 65,000. So you can see here that it has actually increased to sort of like maximum quantity, but the price has reflected that. Initially it was above region average. You can see these spikes here where it's been reset from time to time, but now that's actually following the downward trend now, and so here very little resets are happening because the quantity is so high, and you can see it's just trailing down the same as the region average at the moment. Mother Beans, thank you very much for the follow. So there were a lot of speculation as to the reason for this downward trend. Obviously, we're getting towards the end of an expansion. Various people on the Reddit post talked about basically, yes, the expansion being over, so demand slackens off. As we've already talked about, we've got the raids are finishing now. So this is the last patch for shadowing, before Shadowlands comes out. There we go, got the right words out. And then obviously people who are not raiding so much or are moving on to other content, obviously we've got the release of Alpha, so people are looking at that. New players coming back possibly don't understand how the new system works and therefore are undercutting lots. So there's a lot of different factors here at the moment. Minicron, thank you very much for using your Prime. Very much appreciated. Thank you ever so much for your support. See a lot of emotes for you. Thank you very much indeed. And I missed your words there. Glad to catch me on stream. I'd like to thank you for your inspiration. Actually aiming for the long boy at the moment. And your videos on TSM are perfect start to your conquest on the auctions. Well, congratulations and thank you ever so much for your support. And I hope if you do have any questions, feel free to ask them in chat, or myself or anyone else in chat will hopefully be able to answer them. Xenothid's down to 18 gold on your server. Wow. Yours consistently at 17 gold. Yeah, they definitely are getting lower. And Isaac, thank you very much for the follow. So many Kappas today. You see another shuffle the rank 3 Shalderai pants. Oh, for the Shalderai silk one, that would be a good one, definitely. The reasons for low price are no required flasks for raids, since they outgear heroic, and possibly, I wouldn't agree necessarily with the multi-boxes. In terms of quantity, yes, but not necessarily on tanking the prices. End of expansion, definitely. I would agree with that one, certainly. Yeah, Pinelacius, I mean, there's very much, I think, a broad range of things, certainly. And I certainly agree that they each will be playing a part. As to what percentage, definitely. It's a very popular bot profile right now, and that's something I actually know very little about. It's not something I've even experienced whilst I've been going around. As what you see on your realm, new players undercutting flask prices with 50 gold, and then everyone reposts at the same price. I mean, that's definitely worth considering that the new auction house system may be contributing to this. Talk about a little bit more on this, because Jack the Dipper talks about that on my Discord. With a very sort of interesting sort of take on how someone who's previously experienced Goldmaker with pretty stacking and things like that, and how coming back to the new auction house is seeing a very different trend. I'll go through this at the moment. Well, I missed a whole load of stuff. Go on, chat. Well, it's going through so fast tonight. Let me just skip ahead a little bit. I do apologise if I miss you. Atherative, thank you very much for stopping by. Do you have any classic gold making guides as well, or only retail? I am pretty much focusing on retail at the moment. I did do a TSM set of videos on classic when it first came out, but since then I would suggest maybe checking out Breg Vids, who we mentioned here earlier at the beginning, because he's still playing classic from time to time and has been doing a challenge there, so that's well worth a look at if you're looking for something for classic. I think I'd agree with you, Rasheen. I think it's very easy sort of to flip sort of like negative opinion towards multi boxes in terms of like saying, oh, that must be where the problem lies. But it's not. I agree with you. I don't think it's necessarily the from that certainly. Oh wow, imminent stake. Thank you very much. Several of your markets tanking. You've given up on your long boy. Be more prepared for the next faction thanks to my videos. Well, no time to give up on it, imminent stake, but I do appreciate the donation. That's incredibly kind of you. Thank you very much. Very generous. And Totu, thank you very much for stopping by. Hope you're doing well. Let me just scroll down, see if I can get to the bottom. Every silt under 240 is a profit. The bigger the profit when you have the blue pants, and doing it for 15 years, exactly. People fear what they don't understand. That could be a potential part of it, certainly. If you're looking at Mage Royal, what's a good price to get them before the event? It depends on quantity and it depends on your server. I would look at the TSM averages for your server and also look at it on the Undermine Journal and see what the base market average is for your server and go from there. Can I go over the Bracer Shuffle Excel sheet? I can. Remind me later, Itoto, and I can go through that and talk through anything you might have a question over. But I'll go through the Wowhead blog first, and we'll get that done, and then remind me later. Don't think it's inherently bad, but it's unfair if a cloud of Tenderers despawns node as Inthid. It would be the same as if 10 separate people went and did it. I guess, Doc Otter, but the fact that it's one person, I guess, would be the issue for you. But in reality, it's the same as 10 separate people doing it. Farmer True, good evening to you. Life is unfair. We're just talking about multi-boxing, and there we go. There's a blunt reply if ever I heard one. Sugar crusted fish feast has sold so fast lately. I haven't tried that one actually. The new FX people spend the gold savings on invis pots for feast. So that could be interesting actually, with people just running through the affixes. OX300, thank you very much for the follow. That looks like ASCII code for something, or hexadecimal. I'm not sure what it is exactly, but thank you very much for the follow. Friendship meme. Let me carry on with this because we were talking on the prices going down, and Jack was talking about how the new system with the LIFO system, and basically there's no pretty stacks anymore, and so you couldn't price any higher. And one of the things that is quite interesting here is also the fact that there is no player control now as to what price they buy at. They will always automatically buy at the cheapest, which does tend to push the price further downwards. So I can see how this could potentially be a way of pushing down the prices. In order to get a sale, you either have to be the cheapest or the latest. So even with being able to repost often at the same price, that's fine for a moment, but then someone else will undercut you, and then someone else comes down at a lower price, and then that whole market can get pretty... You love the big stacks of pretty flowers. You could think of it that way, certainly, but the concept of selling a stack and scooping up all the smaller ones to do a neat stack is certainly a technique that's no longer there. You have a multi-box team you use when you want to just chill and farm some cloth new TSM. Your main goal making is the auction house. It's not being reworked, no, Voltac. We're just talking about how it was with when the auction house was revamped, and we've got the system. And this is basically the opinion of someone who is an experienced gold maker coming back to the auction house since the changes have come into effect. And so it's quite an interesting opinion piece on sort of like how they think about the prices just being funneled further and further downwards. And so is selling the lowest and last always coming first? Is that going to push the prices down? Looking at these downward trends here on Zin and Thid and comparing that with Legion on Aetheril, is this downward trend less for different reasons? Is it because of obviously the whole COVID thing and everyone's around and farming more? Is it because the long boys being taken out of service and into the black market auction house? There's so many factors, we can't know exactly which ones are going to factor the prices going downwards. My question is how low will it go? I mean, you can see here that it's bottomed out here at say 20 gold and what's that, about 15 or 10 gold on Storm Rage. I have a feeling that until we find a way of doing either a vendor shuffle or something like that, the price will continue to go down and then probably level off until the end of the expansion. But I'm interested in hearing what you think. Please do put a comment in below and tell me what you think about the prices and how they are, how they have trended down for your server and what your experiences are. Undercuts from people that either haven't adjusted to the new auction house or are trying to cut so low, no one complete. Rampant bots and Blizzard's major lack of dealing with the issue is one of the main reasons. That could be another factor as well, Farmer True. As we were saying earlier as well, when people are talking about multi-boxers have no real interest in tanking the prices because it's not in their own interest, really. I kind of feel it's going to keep dropping until people aren't willing to farm it. Even if you can't sell it, you just have to go lower. Exactly. Most boxers don't herb. Most of the herbing druids are bots. That's an interesting take, actually. I have absolutely zero experience on bots or anything like that, so I bow to others' greater knowledge on that fact and speculation as to how many there are, certainly. You could say it's TSM's fault because automatic undercut. I don't think TSM by default automatically undercuts anymore, Clotic, so it could be people who have got operations, but even if they have got old operations, their undercut will only be for one copper, and that's no longer a thing now, so TSM by default will match the price, so it won't undercut anymore. So you'd have to have set your undercut to a fairly aggressive amount to see a huge amount of undercutting. I mean, talking of TSM, they've just done a recent blog post which I thought was worth sharing here on Wowhead because it talks about sniping and the concept of sniping. Effectively, our expectations really have changed now since the new auction house update because there is no longer a first and a last page. TSM doesn't work in the same way in terms of finding out what's about to expire for your bids, snipers, and what is just recently been listed on for your buyout snipers. Now you've got the whole auction house being scanned at the same time. So obviously that's going to be a lot slower if your default operation is looking at every single item. So what TSM suggests is to have a smaller focused group that is just focusing on sniping, and then TSM will be able to just focus on that and scan through that much more rapidly. So it's worth remembering that sniping is still available, but it is in a slightly different format. Wow, got through that. Let me just quickly scratch through and see if I've missed anything. On there, try Doomhammer EU. There are anytime 20 plus teams running around Node like flying Kato rare mob. Is it really that much? See, I only have experience with Shadow Song, so maybe it's just me and my server, and the fact that I spend pretty much 90% of my time at the auction house as well. So I don't tend to see it. What shall I miss? Hold on, let's do that. RWT has been happening a lot. I think there's a lot of people botting it's like the game RuneScape because of RW. What does RWT mean? There's a lot of people botting for free money. Is that real world transactions? I'm thinking. Could that be it? You're an EVE player who just got into WoW and trying to get to free to play with WoW token. Is it particularly difficult? Not if you can get everything set up with a way that works for you, AFO. You do have to focus quite a bit of your time on making gold, and then once you've got yourself set up, like I have with my professions, then making enough for a token is relatively easy, depending on whether you're EU or NA as well, because if you're NA, the prices are so much less as well. Good evening, Natty. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for stopping by. Real world trading. Okay, so in-game money for real life money. Okay, yes, I get what you mean, Voltac. Yes, I mean that's the case. So if I have a ArtStation account, I don't, Edwards the Monk, no. I've kind of pretty much separated any of my sort of like real life 3D work from the WoW side, really, just to A, protect my identity, and B, sort of all my new stuff that I do now that is WoW focused will stay here on the Samadan Plays WoW. Fatalis and Jerome Artsen, thank you very much for the follow. Sorry if I got your name wrong. Can't buy sand bits for gold, sadly. Your presence is welcome more than enough. Blizzard bucks, yeah, definitely. Do I have a setup for all the professions, or do I focus on a few? So I am focused currently on a few, although I am expanding that as much as I can. So I would like to go to every single profession. We will be looking at blacksmithing later on tonight. That's going to be definitely an option. Just make sure that I'm not AFK for a minute. Let me just jump back there. And then, but the ones I focus on at the moment are enchanting, alchemy, tailoring, a little bit of leatherworking and inscription, and then jewel crafting I haven't got yet, blacksmithing I haven't got yet, and engineering I haven't got yet. Charwin, thank you very much for this sub using your Prime. That's very kind of you. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you for your support. Here's a whole load of emotes for you. What kind of tips would I give to someone who's starting gold making on a rubbish server economy? I would say try looking at raw gold farms first if you're worried about actually looking at the server economy. And then I would analyse that server economy a little bit deeper and see where the niches might be. If some things are really low, then something else might be higher, and there may be some lesser known areas that you can look at. Maybe some profession things or some other items that you can find that maybe you can flip a few things. Maybe just start looking at the market and looking for things that look at patterns, look at the undermine journal, look at the price compared to the region, and go from that. Or as Farmer said, farm enough to move. What server do I play on? I play on Shadowsong EU, where we have relatively high, according to this at least, Zenithid prices, although they have hit region average here, so there are definitely some downtrends now even on Shadowsong. No more talking about how prices are going to fall rapidly. Don't ruin my hopes for a long boy. Well, there will always be options, Stolpcraft. This does mean that obviously you can buy and craft your herbs cheaper, but obviously then the as we talked earlier, the demand for potions, rather, not herbs, buy your herbs cheaper to make potions or inscription cheaper. There's always options here. So you may be able to make more profits and follow the trends downwards. There'll be a profit margin somewhere. It's just a question of finding it. Maureen, thank you very much for the follow. Shadowlands should start from scratch, though, for each profession, meaning they'll all start at one. Well, exactly, so it'll be a new starting point for professions in Shadowlands. There'll be a whole new set of things to learn, which I'm very much looking forward to. That pretty much wraps up the Wowhead blog. If you do have any questions or comments, please do put them below. And I'm very interested on people's opinions as to what they think of the sort of like the market movement as it is at the moment, and where you might be looking for making your gold in the future. So I'll leave that for the moment, and then we'll go back to Samadan. Sensors, good evening to you. Hope you're doing well. Want to buy Farmer True on all EU servers. People are just dumping and starting to prep for Shadowlands. A lot of crafters being sitting on massive amounts of mats for a while. Yep, that's a good point as well. I have a reasonable amount of tide spray at the moment that I'm going through at the moment. What was the cut-off for the tide spray linen pants shuffle? I think, was it not to... I always get this mixed up. Is it either 1 gold 80 or 2 gold 40? It's one of the two. Thank you, Itotu. We'll go through that. Well, let's do that now. What was it specifically you wanted to talk about? Let me bring up the shuffle spreadsheet. The 2.4 is Shalderai, so it must be 1.8 then. In terms of how it works, okay, so let's bring up the shuffle spreadsheet and I'll run it through. For those that haven't seen this, this is for the bracer shuffle that I started quite a while ago. Let's go through this at the moment. So basically what you do for this is, how big is this? Let's move that across a little bit. There we go. So do you scrap the greens too, or just the blues? So you disenchant the blues and you scrap the greens. So the first step is to go onto all this column and put in your average buy price for all the core materials. Then put in the DB market price for your own server, as well as for the enchanting materials here. Then also put in the market price for the accords and the weapon enchants here. And then this will basically be calculated here as to, well, is it actually worth doing the bracer shuffle on your server with these prices that you put in. So looking at this, the cost of the cheapest bracer times 100, it's telling me to actually make coarse leather arm guards. That is because coarse leather here, the price is 0.86, which is probably more like, say on my server, it's more like 10 gold. So if I change that to 10, like that, then this is now changed to tide spray bracer, which is what I usually have, because my tide spray linen price is 4. So the cost of the cheapest bracer, this is times 100, so just to give you some ideas as to how the figures work. And then this is what kind of return you'll get on that, using the averages that we have down here in this area. That's what's used for calculating it. This section here tells you which is the price of each of the bracers. So this only goes as far as honourable bracers down here. Check your prices for sinister and notorious bracers as well, because they may well be cheaper. But honourable is used in the calculation at the moment. So basically the premise is you... where's the link here? There we go. So basically you buy all the things. You make the cheapest bracer out of these, you then disenchant the blues, and you scrap the greens, making the assumption, of course, that you've got Ewan's enchanting rod, the tools of the trade for enchanters. Then the greens that you scrap will give you expulsum. So the person who does the scrapping has to make the cheapest of the 3 leatherworking mail or cloth bracers. So if you've got a separate leatherworker, and honourable combatant satin, honourable combatants leather arm guards are the cheapest, which they usually are. Let's have a look here. So the honourable cloth braces are 534, honourable leather braces are 144, honourable mail braces are 165. So making the honourable leather braces it tells you here. So you make the cheapest to make is the tide spray bracer. You send the disenchant the blues and send the greens to the leatherworker. The leatherworker then uses the expulsum to make these bracers, the honourable combatants one, and then sends those back to the enchanter, who then disenchants those to make the veiled crystals and umbra shards. I hope that makes sense. That was a very, very quick scattershot run through of it. Farmer True, thank you very much for resubbing. That's very kind of you. Do you need to have enchanting and leatherworking on the same character? No, you don't at all. You can send them from one character to the other. I have Samadan, my enchanter, and Urfan is my leatherworker. So when I make all the bracers, I send the green ones to my leatherworker, Urfan. He then scraps them, gets the expulsum, turns those into honourable bracers, and then sends them back to Samadan. And then he disenchants them. On your server, tie spray is over 3 gold and the leather is like 30 silver. Excellent, I thought. So then, therefore, you would use a different bracer to use this, and hopefully that will be reflected here. This green section down the side just gives you an idea as to how much it's worth it. This one is saying it's only just worth it, but you have to make sure you do step 3, which is the making the honourable braces and then sending them back, basically. Talk about tie spray sales start coming in. Excellent. And thank you, Cheesy TV, for your Prime. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you both, Farmer True and Cheesy TV. Let me send you a whole load of emotes. Thank you very much. One last question. Your average buy is very old. From where can you get that? So you can make sure that if you look on your average buy, if you go into your TSM, hold on, I messed that up. Let's do a reload, because I did that whilst it was going through. There we go. So I would say make sure in TSM you have the smart averages turned on. So what smart averages does with TSM, it only looks at the amount of things you have in your bags and your bank and takes an average buy price based on those. So if you go here into your settings under accounting, there's a tick here for use smart average for purchase price. That way your average buy won't get quite old. The other thing you can do is clear your old data. So you could go down and look at anything that's like too old, like say 90 days, and you can clear anything that's older than that. It's worth having a look, Harry Gamer, certainly. Now, the good thing about using the spreadsheet first is you don't have to level the other professions. Just put your numbers in there, and then you can see whether it might work for you on your server. But bear in mind, obviously, scrapping and making braces takes time. So I don't think, did I have that in the, if I got it down here, so how long does it take to make 100 braces? It basically, in order to process it all the way from making the braces, disenchanting the greens, disenchanting the blues, scrapping the greens, and then making the honourable braces, then making the enchants once you've disenchanted all of those. For 100 braces, it takes me about 13 minutes, all told. Or as Mushy says, 2.5 hours for 10,000 tie spray into enchants. So be prepared for a fair amount of slog when you're doing it. And it may or may not work on your server depending on your prices. Obviously we're on the tail end of an expansion, so prices and profits will be, this has been out for a long time, so prices and profits will be slimmer on most servers. Only started getting into gold making this past month, but because you have loads of characters, trying to come up with ways of utilising them. At the moment you all use transmute to anchor wheat. That's a good start, certainly. That's usually quite effective. Less scrapping at the moment is so freeing, I can imagine. You do 2,000 a day, it breaks it down. Yeah, 20,000 a day is a lot, mainly, but 2,000 is kind of more digestible. Usually craft 1,000 tie spray braces at a time. Yeah, I try to keep it down to a small chunk myself, usually between 500 and 1,000, usually. 20, I just gave you PTSD. Yeah, I have a lot of tie spray still to process. I have already processed, thanks to working from home, I can process in the background. I have 463 expulsum at the moment. Now, because one of the byproducts of the bracelet shuffle means that you do have quite an excess of umbra shards, the thing that's not part of my calculations, and something that I do here, is I will occasionally basically make a whole load of honourable combatant scepters, which is these ones here, honourable combatant sorcerer scepter, which I have at rank 3. Now this just uses umbra shards and 1 expulsum, so I turn that into veiled crystals by making a whole load of these, but that's not part of my calculations, so that's something also to bear in mind. If you do have an excess of umbra shards, that's a good way of turning the umbra shards into veiled crystals. imagine we'll make a new shuffle, if such a thing is possible, on the Shadowlands expansion. I'll certainly be looking at... I love the way how, with Shadowlands at the moment, how all the enchants and inscription things and everything else is interacting with each other. So I'll be really looking forward to seeing and discovering how it's going to work out from there. I refuse scrapping, even if it's only a way to make gold. Absolutely, Darkwing, you've got to do what's fun for you more than anything else. Do I think alchemy is still viable these days on your server, Twisting Nether? They are very low profit. I would say yes, given my own experience here on Shadowsong. But as we were looking at on the Wowhead blog, that the trend does seem to be going downwards, which means that the demand is going to be less, and the prices are, and therefore the profits are going to be harder and harder to come by. Certainly. Open the Blingtron gift. Have we got? Oh yes, I've got one in my bags, haven't I? I keep forgetting that. Let's have a look. What have we got? Battle Potion of Stamina, not a very good sell price. Bottle of homemade wine. Vendor sell price of 70 gold. That's very nice. And then green firework of 25 gold. So I'll vendor those. That, and where did the other one go? That one. There we go. What professions are most viable right now by my perspective? I mean, I am still enjoying alchemy, I'm still enjoying inscription, and I'm also enjoying leatherworking and enchanting. You sell those pots in the auction house? So they do sell. I did think that, I did consider that, looking at it, in terms of the Battle Potion of Stamina, but considering there's one on there for 99 silver, the sale rate is reasonable, 0.11, so you could possibly do that, but for convenience I've just gone and sold those. Yeah, it is very low. So, thinking next one. Ah, Jack, how are you? We were talking about you earlier on the Wowhead blog. I hope you don't mind. I've shared your Discord conversation in terms of what you put on about the Tide Spray, and shared it on the Wowhead blog because it was really interesting to see how that panned out. So lovely to have you here. I hope you're doing well. You're enjoying inscription, alchemy, and tailoring. Excellent, thank you, Jack. Good evening, Wave. How are you? Thanks for stopping by. Whilst everyone's in and talking, I'm just going to go through and check go through my normal gold making bits and pieces here, because I've got a feeling I've probably got a whole load of expires that I haven't looked at in a while. Yes, we do have. So I need to get rid of all that. I've got a mail there that I'll open off stream actually. Ignore that for the moment. This is going super fast in Stormwind. Definitely a fast area to be doing it in. There we go. Not quite got everything open. Let's do another lot of that. Get that all completely filled up. Okay. And then we'll go and start posting all my expires on. And then let's have a look. Auctioning, and select all groups and run a post scan. A bit frustrated when you wrote the piece. It's a very interesting point though, Jack, and I think it's quite valid as to, is the new auction house causing these issues, or is it there's a number of factors that are probably contributing to it. But looking at, let's say, the price of Zenithid and how quickly it's gone down, and compare that to the Aetherial chart you put up, there's definitely a much shallower decline at the end of Legion compared to what there is now with Zenithid. Now that could be very much down to things like the whole everyone at home with COVID, and everyone sort of playing a slightly different game now as what they played back then. Why is my TSM going 3 times as fast as my time? TSM? Well, it's mainly down to server, and it's also down to the zone I'm in. At the moment, this area of Stormwind seems particularly lag-free at the moment, so it's definitely a lot faster here. It's even fast for me at the moment, so this is going through relatively fast. Satchaz, good evening to you. Hold on, I missed that. Let me just scroll up. Recently started out your gold making as well. Been watching some VODs and YouTube vids of mine. What items do you think are most viable in leatherworking at the moment? You're a low populated server. Well, my first thought would be to say the uncanny gear would be my first thought. Secondary to that, the drums and fury are still viable at the moment. And then also don't disregard the base coarse leather set for fresh 110s. That might also work as well. That will take half an hour at Draenor. Yes, it is. I've tried Draenor. It is amazingly slow. People on the server at the moment seems to play a role too. Can feel a big difference between 6 in the morning and 6 in the evening. Yes, that does make a big difference. Let me go through and take the rest of my expires whilst we're here. Then we'll look at the mailbox at the end. Let all that run through. Do I have any default groups or operations? I can do more than that. Friday the 13th, I can give you my entire groups if you would like. They are all available. Obviously, they are in rough format, so take them with a pinch of salt. They are a little bit messy from time to time, but you're more than welcome to sift through my paste bins and have a look yourself. Which is the best profession to level without lots of money and rep? Leatherworking would be my first thought on that one, certainly. So looking at my gold for Samadan, this is for the week, this is the whole week. So we have Bear Tartar, salt on that, Cultura Masu, so a bit of food. Enchants, obviously doing well here. Machinist Brilliance. Uncanny Gear, the cloth gear is doing well here. Some good prices there for all of those. Satin Belt, Mittens, Boots, Belt and Braces. More enchants, a bit more food. Tome of Illusions there for 2,000, that's quite good. That's quite cheap for a Tome of Illusions Pandera. Sold a saddle shoot. Don't tend to sell those very often. A few Umbra Shards. I try and sell a few of those on the auction house as well because I have so many of them. And more enchants throughout the week. Nothing massively significant going through all of these. A few bags, some netherweave bags there, some frostweave bags there. And some more uncanny gear there, giving me a total of sales, that's not profit, that's just sales, 116,000 for cooking, enchanting and tailoring. So we'll take all of those, open those up. I hope you can help me out. Every time you post your uncanny weapons, they post for more than the market average. Any ideas? It could be the different item variations you've got. Are you having ignore item variations checked or unchecked? Because at the moment when I post mine, I do them per item variation. So maybe it's something like that, I would say. And what your price settings, that's another option. As Darkwing said, if you can put them, and what Senza said, what was that? Are you ignoring item variation? Yes, exactly. You sold mop shoulder enchants. Exactly. The lots of different things are selling at the moment, especially when it comes to leveling up. So basically, Johnny Depth, if you look into your group for, let's say, have a look in my uncanny for tailoring at the moment, as my group for there. If we go into, actually no, I'll move that. I'll go into the TSM one here, into my groups. So tailoring, I have actually two different groups for my uncanny gear. I've got the uncanny crafting group, which has ignore item variations checked, and that has the base belt, boots, braces, cloak, mittens and pants without any different variations taken into account. So that's just for me for crafting. So the only group operation I have here is to craft 5 each of them. This doesn't have an auctioning operation. My auctioning operation, uncanny selling, this is the only time you can have the same item in 2 different groups because they're not exactly the same item. I have all the different variations in here and they are all being individually priced because here I have ignore item variations unchecked. And then the group operation here doesn't have a crafting operation, but I have an uncanny crafting selling operation here. And inside there, I would check your normal price. Because at the moment, mine are all based on a percentage of crafting cost. So my minimum price is 130% crafting. My maximum price is 5,000% crafting. And my normal price is 400% crafting. So if I looked in my tooltip for some uncanny gear, like that, and I've got an uncanny cloak, my minimum price is 939, my normal price is 2,800, my maximum price is 36,000. Obviously that's pretty expensive. My crafting cost is 722 gold. The min buyout currently on the auction house is 19,999, but it's not necessarily going to be taking into account all the different variations there. So each of these will be priced slightly differently. You can see here I've got a Cloak of the Peerless that's on for 19,999, but I've got a Cloak of the Fireflash that is on for 2,700. So markedly different different prices depending on the stats. Now there is an argument for saying of selling uncanny gear at this point and ignoring the item variations, because the person who's going to buy their uncanny gear at this point is probably only looking for a quick item level upgrade on their fresh 120, so that they can then go on and get even further gear. So there's a possibility that people aren't going to be buying the stuff with high stats, but you never know. No problem, Johnny Depp. I hope that wasn't too fast for you. I hope that explained everything in detail. Mate, how are you? Looking to help. What can I help you with? It's something. Yeah. Oh, that was the mail. Yes. I'm not sure. I'll open that off. I'll open that off stream. So just in case there's someone who doesn't want to divulge any information on stream. But I'll leave that one for the moment. Pascal, thank you very much for the follow. Hope you're doing well. I probably have a whole load of stuff I need to restock on Samadan here, but I've just dealt with the expires in the mail now. What I'll do is I'll run through all the characters and we'll go through our gold for the week. So what was that? That was about 120,000 in gold on Samadan. Now I spent a fair amount of gold as well, so I'm still only 729,000 on Samadan. I'm going to have to buy some more tokens soon. Let me just, whilst I'm here, and whilst I remember, let me just check the token price. We are currently, oh, that's a reasonable price actually, 173,000. I'm going to buy a token at that price. The last one I bought was 175,000. So I'm going to take one at that price. I'm going to try and spread it out over the course of a few days. So I'm going to take a token there. We'll add that to our list, certainly. 675 tie spray. Yeah, I won't be buying any at that price, certainly. I may have another article for me next week when I have a blog, because of the new way of selling. You're going with a new strategy by using TSM. Oh, very interested in hearing that, Jack. Ripped money. Yep, it's all gone there. Dave, how are you? Thanks for stopping by. Love the hello icon. That's lovely. Hope you're doing well. I saw your all your commissions post, Dave, and I was very, very tempted to do a commission for Samadan, but saw how immediately flooded you were with that, and I don't think it's quite something I can quite stretch to at the moment. But that is something I'll definitely consider in the future. It was nice to read in the discussion we had. Yes, definitely, it definitely was, Jack. So thank you for sharing that at the moment. Special friend discount. Oh, very, very kind of you, Dave. That's very, very kind of you. I may well take you up on that one. Priestino, nice mount. Thank you very much. This has been my goal for a long time to have this, so it's lovely to make use of it, even though we are conversely sat right outside the auction house, which is a little bit sort of unnecessary, really. Tokens are 115k for you. Is that on NA for you? Can I make new emotes like an Oreo hide? That could be an interesting one. I could do that. I'd have to change out the ones I've already got, because I think I've already on the maximum as a affiliate. But once I get partnership, then I'll be able to expand that to even more. Receive that 200k gold in your inbox soon. Absolutely, Jack. I don't mind doing that. Hendog, how are you? Oh no, I missed that. That was from earlier, was that? Hold on, let me just... tokens 115k. Oh yeah, that was it. That was for America. Yep. There we go. 1 hour later, the Zanzilara you mentioned is level 60. Time for Outland. Wow, that's so fast. It is amazing, isn't it? When did I ask for the last Twitch Prime product? It wasn't too long ago, actually. Not last week, maybe the week before. I did get declined again. I wrote them a really nice poem, and I asked for some feedback in my poem, and they very, very kindly did give me some feedback as to things to look in for. One of the things, obviously, to consider is the fact that obviously I do the Wowhead blog, and I do get inflated embed stats through that, so I don't think that looks favourably on my stream as a whole. But overall, it's not just about the numbers as well. They look at all sorts of different things. But I don't mind so much as long as I think it's about the 5th time I've applied now. I'll keep applying, and when the time is right, when the fates align, then I'm sure that no will turn it into a yes. But it won't stop me from streaming and having a lovely discourse with all you lovely people. And one option is post at normal and hope they raise their prices a good bit so you can undercut them again. Others to buy them out and repost higher. Those are the options definitely. Let me just scroll up to see if I missed that. When you have people posting below my minimum. Yeah, so it depends on the item. I quite often just post at my minimum, and I will either consider a reset myself, or I'll just keep there. And because of Shadowsong being quite a sort of low pop server, or medium pop server, it's not usually a concern for me, and I'll just let those go through. But sometimes I will consider, depending on the item, resetting the market. What advice would I give to a not really geared prot warrior with mining, jewel crafting, just trying to get into gold making to make gold? Well, the mining's a good point. You can go and mine the ore and either sell that directly or use your jewel crafting, make some uncanny starbs. That might help. In terms of the gems and stuff, I'm not sure how well they're selling at the moment, but I would certainly put at least one of each on the market and see if they sell. The main thing really would be to make sure you've reached the full depth of your profession. Look at maybe the jewel crafting panthers if you haven't done those as well. Oh, thank you, Camby Summer. Afraid to risk 80k gold on food and not have enough return. Yes, and food can be quite expensive to make. So maybe try and make smaller amounts of it and see how it goes from then. Let's quickly go to my other characters whilst I'm going through and doing the gold, whilst I remember. Otherwise I'll be stood here on my mount for a while. Now, before I jump in here, I need to think about Awakening. I think he still has the remaining 3 minutes of the Silas buff. So bear with me as I focus on this and don't read chat for a moment. I'll go through and quickly try and deal with my expires and relist my auctions on before the buff runs out, just in case I need to restock on anything. Last I saw it was just the light feat potions. I have 2 minutes left. So let's take the expires. This is obviously slower here than it is in Stormwind, but I haven't really got the time to be able to restock on the re-teleport from there on. So we're filling this up a fair amount. We do have a few cells, which is quite nice. Let's run this through. There we go. Everything's off. Let's post it all on. TSM does tend to prefer it on the auction house when it comes to restocking. So I'll just run through this, post that lot on, and then we'll go through. That's all that on. Quite a lot of this is below min price because I haven't followed the trend downward on Zenithid prices at the moment. So let's have a look here. Go to my groups, restock. So Superior Battle Potion of Intellect, we'll make 40 of those whilst we still have just a minute left. Let's see if we can go through that. There we go. Beat the timer here. Basically, can we make a load of potions of intellect in the time we got left? And if I don't, once I've made all of those, I will jump on to making something else that's relatively quick to make, like Abyssal Healing Potions, Empowered Proximity, Unbridled Fury could be a good one there, looking at the sale rate and the price of that. Abyssal Healing Potions, you get quite a few of those at once though. So the small, although looking at the rate we're going through here, Lightfoot Potion, last I saw the herbs are really expensive there. So the only thing that's really a decent profit here, maybe abyssal healing potions. No, we're too close here to the timeline on that. No Silas exactly sends us. We can actually see if we can get a Silas proc whilst we're here, as I've just made all of those. So let's just see if we do get one. Then we can carry on. No, it's a transportation one today, so no luck on that front. We'll carry on though, and we'll do our daily cooldown. It's the first time hearing a return. Fury is a big money maker for alchemy. Unbridled Fury. I mean, in terms of looking at that, I have. When did I last sell some? 9 days ago. I've got 90 on me, 40 in my bags, and 50 on the auction house. So I do have a reasonable stock of those. So we're okay on that front. The main thing here, really, though, is looking at my. I mean, the Lightfoot potion. Last time I couldn't make those because of the price of. I believe it was sea stalks. Let me have a look at that in a moment. We'll go here. No, star moss. Wrong. Have a look here, shopping wise. We'll look for the BFA herbs. We'll do a quick scan. Not salty about Silas anymore. You've retired alchemy for the rest of BFA now. Have you really, Sensors? That's interesting. Do I post it all the days, or just wait after reset? Prices in the weekend feel lower to you. Usually they are lower. I will basically each morning I'll probably reset my prices, take them off and put them back on again. Now we have a fair few number of herbs that are below 7 gold here, which is nice. Zinanthid is down to 33 gold here. My mat cost is telling me 32, so that's not too bad. My average purchase price is 36 based on that. And why doesn't my Zenithid include average buy on that? That's an interesting one. Let me just have a quick look at that in my profession window. Because normally my herb will match my average buy price. So it could be that the market price is lower. Zinanthid. We'll check that. So the minimum average buy is in there, but it's also looking at the DB market price. So if we look at that again, close that and look at that. So my market price, yes, is 32 gold 98, which is where TSM is getting the mat cost from. So I could make sure I buy some of that up. 32 gold. How many do we have at the moment? We have a fair amount already, 3,600, so it's probably not worth me buying it anymore at the moment because the price difference isn't huge. Maybe during the week it might be a bit different, and then I can deal with that at that point. But for the moment, that's absolutely fine. We can deal with that. We've got some stuff we sold this week, so not amazing in terms of alchemy compared to previous weeks, but we do have, we've got Unrelenting Stride sold there for 6,600. Undertow, Endless Fathoms and Currents have sold reasonably well there. The Lightfoot potions have sold. So what was the herb we were looking for again? Let me just check that. Shopping, run a shopping scan, check my alchemy, and then it was Star Moss, wasn't it? Now Star Moss was really high. Now it seems to be a bit more reasonable. 6 gold 65 is my normal price for that. We could possibly make a few more, but we can't make the Lightfoot potion now because I don't have the Silas prop for those. So hopefully the price of that will go down a little bit further. Does anyone have any good ways of gaining Expulsum? Easiest. The best way I can think of is first the tie spray linen braces would be the first thing I think when it comes to Expulsum. You cut your losses with what you had left, maybe lost 300k overall. That's not too bad considering, I think. But what have you moved on to, in which case, Sensors, in terms of your gold making? Oh, I could hear a snoring. I wondered where the snoring was coming from. Oreo's behind me on the bed. Sorry, Oreo, I didn't mean to disturb you there. I've now gone and woken him up. Your tunes have leatherworking and tailoring. What should you be making to make the gold? I would start with the uncanny gear. That would be a good start, certainly, Catweasel. And then maybe, how deep is your tailoring? because tailoring has all the bags from various different expansions. It has a lot of different cloth, like the shirts. I can't at the moment, Darkwing, because it's showing he's actually on the bed, and I don't really want to show my entire bedroom off to the entire stream. I try and keep the stream sort of focused just here, and the WoW toys behind me. But if Oreo ever decides to jump on the table, which is highly unlikely, then I'll certainly bring him on camera. You're just keeping up with everything else. Mounts are always your go-to. That's pretty good. Is that with the engineering mounts mainly? Yeah, you can make all the bags and shirts. Yeah, so that would be my secondary thought on that front. I think I'm all right on herbs at the moment, so I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave a Lightfoot potion as well. So I'm going to collect my gold. So let's take all of this. So I'm rebuilding my gold reserves because I spent an awful lot on Zenithid. So we're back up to 127,000. I did buy a token or two on this character as well. So we'll keep on with the potions, see if we can generate some sales that way. We've done all the other bits and pieces, so that's fine. So we'll jump over onto another character now. Let's carry on through. Do my strings include crafted transmog from Vanilla to Burning Crusade, etc.? Not in any great depth at the moment. Is the biggest income herb and alchemism? Not necessarily. I mean, as we saw, herbalism there, alchemy gave me, what was that, 52,000 on its own. And then I got about 100 and something thousand through enchanting, tailoring and cooking combined. So you could say at that point it's still pretty strong as far as a profession on my server goes. Inscription as well is doing quite well. Let's have a look. What am I doing with my data now that Pastebin is not working anymore? I didn't know that was a thing, Quinbuoy. I didn't realise it wasn't working anymore. If there's an alternative, then I'll put it on there, certainly. I didn't realise it wasn't working. Old Wooden Tailoring Transmog has been doing surprisingly well for you this week. Nothing crazy, but we've restocked all shirts at least twice this week. Shirts do tend to have a decent amount for me from time to time. Your biggest source is your TBC transmog. Interesting. Might just sell your anchors and keep transmuting it as long as it's viable. Yep, no harm in that. It's a fairly easy one. Old world, temp autocorrect here. Bone Arrow, good evening to you. Hope you're doing well. Use my Pastebin about an hour ago. Okay, so it's working for you. That's good to know. Give it a go. It should hopefully work. Right, we have a whole load of expires here on leatherworking, but we do have some sales. Again, this is... Oh no, that's not leatherworking. This is inscription. This is doing very well for inscription. So we have Tortollan Seekers, Uncanny Combatants Etched Vessel for 6,000, and one for 11,000, and one for 9,000. Then we have Highborn Compendiums, Storms both in there. A few Tortollan Seekers contracts. That's the only one I really have the rank 3 on, which is why I'm making a profit on those. So for inscription, that's pretty decent. I'm currently down to 7,000 again because I spent a lot of it on Zenithid. I have enough to make stuff at the moment, so I'll take all of those, add that to my gold coffers, and I should have enough to restock on things anyway with what I've got. So let's have a look here. Auctioning, let's post everything back on. So all these contracts are below minimum price, so I'm posting at minimum price, so I'm not expecting sales there. War Scroll of Intellect is actually below minimum price, that's interesting. Battle Shout and Fortitude are okay, 7th Legion's below. Excuse me. Highborn Compendiums, undercutting competition on all of those except for the Compendium of Storms, which is the one that does seem to sell, 2,999, so my min is 2,964, so there must be one much cheaper than that at the moment. That's since the last scan, and the Etched Vessel is on there as well. Oh, you got your card stats in, Rose? Let's have a look at these. Card stats, late April edition, have now opened 267,000 cards. Total value of 1.2 million. Average of 4.6 gold. So the average is down while 6 silver, still 3 gold, 60 silver profit per card for you. Definitely making them. Well, definitely. For 1.2 million gold, no harm in that, certainly. Now is your time to explain all the card clipping interesting rows after that. Hi Lylan, thank you very much for the follow. Hope you're doing well. Rose tends to do it with the scroll wheel macro as she plays, so it's kind of easier. Yeah, 1.2 million in 5 months. Spelled edition wrong. Still the best card maker, most definitely. You just got BFA flying this morning. Oh, congratulations, Pummelhead. That's a good achievement, definitely. Plan on doing a ton of herbalism and slip it to your alchemy inscription character to get that leveled. Also need to get tailoring max as well. So definitely is a good idea to focus on a number of professions. Try and spread them out and see how you get on. Just made your first BOE flip from 40 to 126. Very nice, Mr. Account. Very nice indeed. Let me just check that I've done everything here. Auctions are on, so let's have a look at inscription and restock on inscription. So Tortollan Seekers, I might have to increase the number of Tortollan Seekers I make. We're also missing some maroon ink here, so here's where my Zenithid comes into play. So mass melt Zenithid, I still have some, so I'm going to make use of this and use that. By the way, I think because this new buying and selling system will see an increase in multi-boxes because they can gather more items than a single farmer. They can go way cheaper in price whilst remaining a decent income. Crafters and flippers also benefit from this because of the lower buy price and therefore feed back into the market. So it kind of like they do feed each other, certainly. I'd agree with that. You crafted 120k cards a couple of years ago. It took you about 6 evenings to craft and open them. That stops you from doing them ever again. There's Maxwell Rose flying around killing us questers in Outland. Oh no! I guess you could always put war mode off for that one. What's the profit on that? Is that on my inscription? I'm not sure exactly, and we'll have to have a look a little bit further. Good evening, listen. Hope you're doing well. If it's a good thing, you can't say. Well, time will tell, certainly. Tolius, thank you very much for the follow. Hope you're doing well. So that's a whole load of maroon pigment made. We need a whole load of distilled water now. So I need to go over the hill and far away across to Inscription Land. Jump down here, and then we can go here and buy some distilled water. I'll probably let's get a few stacks. That'll keep me in water for a while. There we go, we'll take that, and then we will go and maroon ink. Let's make a whole load of this. 371 for the moment. Just noticed maroon pigment is 1500 gold on your server, and Zenithid is 17 gold. That's a big difference, definitely. How do you use your paste bins? Then found you found the import export. Excellent. Glad you found it. Hopefully it all works out for you. Sometimes TSM can get a bit picky with you have to make a group that's got the exact name of the group it's trying to import. Otherwise sometimes TSM breaks a little bit. But it tells you in the chat window what the name of the group is. So you then have to manually make a group, call it the same thing, import everything in, and then use the click and drag to move the group out. I can buy it on my Brutosaur Clever Unicorn, but it's because it doesn't take into account faction discount. I try and buy it from a vendor where I've got a bit more of a faction discount. But yes, it's a good point buying it off the Brutosaur if you are looking for a convenient place. But as I'm in Borealis, then I figured that was the best way of doing it. Say 10 alts with Draenor inscription above 90 and building will get you 4,000 gold per day. Yep, that's one for Rose, I think. Titan Drops, thank you for the follow. Sometimes the min buyout on the tooltip is not the same as the actual minimum on the auction house. Why? It's basically down to the time it was last scanned. So if you look at my tooltip here, the TSM auction database says it was last scanned. The green text is 1 hour 21 minutes ago. So by that time, since it was last scanned, there was a very good chance that someone has already bought it out at that min buyout price or put it on for less than that price. So it's only basically using the API as to when it was last seen on the auction house. As a character level you needed at level 7, they can craft description level 1. Just go to Asheran and learn it as part of the book with the first wad crafts. There we go. I don't know how much of this I actually need for all of these. Looks like I have enough anyway to make these highborn compendiums and the uncanny etched vessel. How are we doing for expulsum at the moment? I do have enough at the moment. That's fine. I do have the rank 3 for the etched vessel, don't I? Yes, I've got that. So that's fine. We'll let this go to 200. No point making maroon ink for the whole of the stream. I can do that off stream. And let's leave that at 201. And then, oh, I needed to close that and open it up again. And we can make our contracts. Tortolan Seekers. With the rep buff, these seem to be doing quite well at the moment. Tome of the Quiet Mind, we'll restock on those. Highborn Compendium and 2 Uncanny Etched Vessels. Now this might have a different version that I haven't added in yet, so let me just check my group. Uncanny Selling. Looks like I've got all versions covered at the moment, so that's fine. Let's go on to our Brutosaur, and we'll post all of these on, along with anything else. Run a post scan on that lot. Contracts, Highborn Compendium, and Uncanny Etched Vessels. So hopefully we might get some other sales from that. Vauxhall TV, good evening to you. Hope you're doing well. Laughed nicely at Rose, you can gain even more when you laughed at Driz. Also suggest fighting the herb trader in a level 3 garrison is one of your alts, and learn mass milling makes it a lot easier to get the mats ready. You ran out. Ooh. Has my game frozen again? This happened last time I streamed quite a lot. Let's just wait and see if it comes back. If not, I shall have to kill my WoW and this on. I didn't update my graphics drivers actually, that could be a thing. I'll have to do that at a different time. Hold on one moment and I shall just reset my WoW. It does come back, does it? It looks like it's still running at the moment. I'm going to force it closed just anyway and reboot it up. No harm in Control Shift Escape. Let's just kill it first. There we go. Let's drop down and bring it back in. That should be easier. There we go, we're back in, loading up. What do we have? Found me out from the Wowhead just now. Great info there. Oh, thank you very much, Vauxhall TV. Lovely to have you here. He's card, you're a card making master. Yes, definitely. There's a whole load of herbs and stuff that I need to just mill, but I'm not going to do that at the moment. So we're fine on Samadan. Let me just scroll through chat. What did I miss? Read your article, Neville. Think some of the hypotheses that person put about the prices in Ithid going down makes sense, but kind of disagree about some of them. Another hypothesis that's more related to game mechanics, that pre-pots flasks are less important regarding DPS than in previous patch due to corruptions and just basically stat creep. That's an interesting thought, Neville. Actually, I quite like that one. The rest of the time, it's just stupid Muradin. Undone like 8 months. Sorry for asking, but could you please show my profit in the mass milling in TSM? Certainly, Chris, no reason to apologise. Let me have a look. So, mass milling. Mass mill. Let's take something like a Kunda's Bite at the moment. So, yes, the mass milling here is all telling me negative profit on there. Crafting cost, it's telling me 181 gold. The TSM is telling me the mill value of a Kunda's Bite is 51 gold. So that's what you meant exactly. Right. Now why would this be? Let's have a think about this. So mass milling of any of these. What have I got the materials for? Let's have a look at Riverbud. So it takes 20. Could it be down to the numbers on this point? How much does mass milling give me? Mass mill riverbud. Mill multiple riverbuds at once. So my assumption would be that the mill rates are the same for a mass mill versus a single mill. There should be a way to make it show profit. Potentially, let me think whether that actually affects us, because my pricing, my custom pricing is coming in my inks, I believe. Let me just check. Crafting reports, materials. Where did I put in crimson ink? Crimson ink is all, maroon ink is the minimum average buy of each of those, so that's just the ink, but it's the pigment itself. Pigment is the one that's got the actual custom price on it there from Bellis. Cerulean pigment, crimson pigment. So the pigment, let me just work my brain through this. So the ink is coming from the pigment, so there's a pigment that's got the price, and then the mass milling is giving us the actual pigment itself, but that's coming from different crafting rates of that. I'm not sure, it's not something I've looked into actually. Yeah, Bill has had a post on it which I used from a year ago on Reddit, which is what I use for pricing my pigments, which is where my price of my ink has come from. I've not looked further into the chain from that. What have we got here? Mr. Honkit, how are you? Thanks for stopping by. Hope you're doing well. Does that not mean just because herbs cost more than the pigment sells for? Yes, it could be that. It could be that basically, it's a good point. Hold on. Milling data for that's the data, isn't it? Yeah. So milling gives you, so milling at 10,000 gives you 3,150 pigments. Yes, I think what Geekridge has just whispered to me says would make more sense. It's the price of it on the market, isn't it? So the current, what's this giving us? The mill value there, giving us the price of all the different market items there. Looks like my WoW has crashed again. I'll just give it a moment and let that run through. I never used the string for maroon ink. It was only the basic herbs on the Reddit article. Yes, that's right. Certainly. Jack and Neil, good evening to you. I hope you're doing well. Use that for the pricing as well. That's fine. But I think we need to do something with the operations. I don't think so. Although my WoW has died again, so I'm going to wait a little while to see if it comes back. But this is happening. I think this is happening more whilst I've been streaming more than anything else. I've never had it whilst I've been actually playing. So I'm just going to let WoW do its thing for a moment. I usually just look whilst doing other things and rarely interact, but I just wanted to say I thoroughly enjoy my streams and my TSM videos that helped me a bunch. Oh, excellent, Mr. V8. It's very lovely to have you here. The maroon ink is only from the Zenith, exactly. There was something about don't use crafting for the herbs themselves. They gave the correct milling values. Yes, I think that's part of the point. Looks like our WoW's come back. Wow, there you were right, Mushy. It did eventually come back. That was a long pause, though, certainly. It's time to get a streaming PC next to my gaming PC. There we go. Yeah, that was a long pause, definitely, for WoW. I wondered what caused that. Zimpao, good evening to you. All is well with me, definitely. So, yes, I'm not sure I've fully got my head round Inscription and the prices, if I'm honest. I got a feeling that I'm missing something in terms of the ink, the pigment, and the pricing of everything. I've got a feeling what I need to do is get my Myron board and just spreadsheet the whole thing out. I might have actually, Mushy, that's a good point. Not only have I got Wowhead open, I've got 2 Wowheads open. It could very well be that. It could also be my live status as well. I'm going to close that down. And I might get my stream manager, keep that a moment. And we've got the Bracer Super Shuffle open. We'll close that as well. Just free up a little bit of resources here. That could be a factor. There we go. It could be Wowhead in the background. The thing I find with Wowhead is that since I got the premium membership without the ads, I find it a lot slicker in terms of a weight point of view, definitely. Theus Drama, thank you very much for the follow. So it shows you the profit of crafting a single star moss using 20 star moss. So that could be... Oh, thank you, Edwards the Monk, for your Twitch Prime. That's very kind of you. Thank you for your support. That's super kind of you. Let me just throw a whole lot of emotes in chats. Welcome aboard. Hope you're doing well. You've got 20 plus one head tabs open. That should be alright then, definitely. Look at the crafting window output. It shows the result of mass milling as a single herb instead of pigments. Aha, right, let's have a look at this again. Let's go over here. Let's start the groups. I want inscription, mass milling, TSM, crafting, mass mill. Let's get our heads around this a little bit more. So mass mill, riverbud, because we've got a general mill value. But yes, down there is the crafting cost is 20 times riverbud, which gives us 116 gold. And the mill value is for one herb. So should it really be times 20 would be my thoughts on that. Maybe it's down to the crafting method therefore on that. That could be a reason. I think I'd have to ask in the TSM Discord to know for sure how that works. But that's a good hypothesis. Thank you for that one. That's definitely a good idea. 40k gold looted from Hexweed bags, so you've sold during the stream. Very nice, Dressing Rise, very nice indeed. Netherwings, good evening to you. Sorry to butt in, useful conversation. I want to say thanks for all my streams, no problem at all, and YouTube videos. I'm very inspired by them. It started your long boy journey from scratch late February. Only 300k to go now. Oh, you've done very well, fantastic. Good luck on your last few steps, certainly. Thanks for all the good info and for the entertainment through long hours of farming and crafting. Well, you're more than welcome. I'm glad you found it useful. You've got 20 wells open. Oh wait, slightly different one, Farmer True. But that's you putting your processor to good use. But those are page breaking. Yeah, I do find them more obtrusive than a lot of sites. The other find is a lot of not WoW related, but just general news sites. I find terrible for ads and things like that. It's a problem with the default crafting window, not a TSM thing. Okay, thank you, So By Place. That's useful to know. I feel like I got my head around that a little bit more, certainly. Not an easy question, I see. Yes, most definitely correct that. But it's good to have these questions. It's good to be thinking about these things. So you just bought for 10,000 gold herbs, milled it and divided by 10,000 through the amount of pigments. So problem solved. There you go. That works as well. Is the uncanny tailoring stuff my cell the 370 I level 1? Your game being in French, you're kind of confused. No, it's the item level 400. The uncanny gear is item... Oh, we've just sold a Compendium of Storms. And 2 of them, in fact. That's fantastic. That's got a gold backup. Let's go and make another couple of them. I'm also noticing I'm wandering around with my Brutosaur with no actual vendors on me. That's going to be annoying for anyone who's coming up to me. Hold on, let me just go and fix that. There we go. So we just sold 2 Highborn Compendiums of Storms. Maybe someone is resetting the market on these. Looking at that. But there's a good reason to make another couple of them whilst we're here. So, Highborn Compendium of Swirling Tides, Sundering Storms. Let's queue 2 of those up. We are missing a little bit more maroon ink, so let's just go and make a little bit more of that whilst we're here. Just take that a little bit further. and then we can make some more of those. Give them a little bit of time to, if someone has reset the market on those, to post them back on. What were they for? 3,400. That's actually a reasonable price, actually. Yeah, we'll have a check of it in a moment. I'll just make a few more of these. That should be enough for the moment. We need 90 according to that. There we go, let that run through. Need a few more of those. Problem you have in Wowhead is the display of ads companies that blatantly promote breaking the terms of use of WoW. I haven't noticed any of those, but then I haven't seen any ads in a long while since I've had the premium version. Right, let's just go through that. Oh, it was actually a levelling service, was it really? Yeah, we definitely wouldn't want that. Do you think it's realistic for someone to get 4 million gold by the end of this expansion? You've only just started your gold journey and starting at 1 million from just playing over 10 years. It is, but you probably have to focus and double down on anything that is successful for you and keep going from there on in. Let's just move that back up there. Don't know what that was doing down at the bottom. It was right, so Highborn Compendium. Let's follow this thought process through. All these different brain worms going through. So Highborn, let's just check the spelling of that. Highborn. Highborn, there's a lot of different Highborn things. I didn't realise there were quite so many. There's the compendiums. Sundering Storms is there. Yeah, they're looking like 8,300 now. So from looking at that, that has just had a repost, I would say, and a reset of the price would be my thoughts on that. From looking at that, I think I recognise the name of that as well. Looking at a goal of around 27k per day to make it. Oh, so what are you using for your end state for the 27k gold? That would be my question. 5 million is a lot easier than people think. A couple of hours a day focused on farming. We'll do it in a couple of months. 31st of August from the spreadsheet. Okay, well, that's not too bad actually then. Right, I think I will post my 2 on, even though those have just sold, as a as we're here on inscription. Then I will move on. Did I actually make those? I didn't actually make them, did I? Hold on, let's go back and then go through here, make those 2, and then we'll post them back on. Hold on, there we go. Got yours the other day after 3.5 months. That's pretty decent. It does depend on how much dedicated time you can give to gold making and how much focus you can put on it, certainly. Kuhn did it on a fresh tune and doing the exact same thing. He did indeed. It's worth noting that he did have flying and he was very good at going around and finding all his nodes. He got into a really good rhythm with doing that, and I would recommend anyone doing that to follow Kuhn's method. Is to get into it, get the right things on, because he had a whole load of different things like the barding and stuff, and having BFA flying certainly did help. So let's go through the rest of my characters whilst I'm here, and I don't think I posted those on, but it should be alright. Let's carry on over to Earthen. Yeah, 40 accounts is quite extreme. But I know it's doable, certainly. Didn't say buy mats until you had like 2.5 million. That sped it up significantly. Yes, I think buying the mats does help rather than farming them yourself. So in terms of gold on leatherworking, 52,000 income from all of this lot. So way much time grinding the mounts from BFA to make any kind of gold. Very true, Mr. Honkett. Being someone who doesn't collect mounts, I find it very nice to just keep my gold on, literally mainly buying myself game time more than anything else. It's always a best farm. Don't farm low gold per hours. Just buy them and farm. and farm what you think is a good fun and a good profit. Yes, fun being the most important thing here, certainly. But you can't get my leatherworking paste bin to import. There's a very good chance there could be something wrong my end. I'll have to check it off stream though to see whether it's an issue. Or actually no, I could probably do it here. Hold on, let me just check. It might be an issue. So what we have in sales here first, let's go through this. 20 males, 52,000. So uncanny male, there's a bow there, some leather there, mainly leather looking at that. But the coarse leather is still selling as well. I make the odd ones of those. No drums of fury on there. So they may be, since the nerf got announced, may be less desirable at the moment. So let's take all of that gold. That takes us up to just over 500,000, so possibly time to use this character to buy another token at some point soon, I would say. Let's post everything back on though. Run a post scan there. Never mind, one space wrong on the groups. Oh, okay, so that's just glad you found the solution. Killing those stupid rares on 10 toons slowly drains you of any will to life you might have had. Yeah, that's the hard bit with mount farming, certainly. Never cared for gold, but when they said the longbow would be gone, you started in September. Now at 3.6 million. That's a very nice progression, or a warrior. Very nice indeed. Sold 4 more bags. Excellent, interesting roads. I really need to get some more restocks done on Samadan. I think some hexweave certainly needs to be in there as well. Let's get all of this uncanny gear posted on. Cost me a fair amount in posting fees, but it's well worth it. So with that all posted on, let me just check my auctions and see if we do need to repost anything. So crafting, groups, restock selected groups. There we go. We got shimmer scale, coarse leather, and a bow and leather gauntlets. Do we have enough of everything? Looks like we do. So I'll run through all of that. There we go. Remember to /reload after each import. Is that still necessary, Darkwing? That's well worth remembering. Right, with all those on, let me just check the uncanny bow, whether I have each one. And uncanny selling, yep, we do have one of everything on, so that's fine. We can go through this and post the things we made on. So we're doing a decent load of stuff here. Longboy OV just got 12k linen for 99 silver each. That fell for someone's bait. Oh really, Dumpster? Congratulations on that. Resubbed and started your run for the Longboy exactly 1 month ago. It is it can be, Ascalor, it's a question of finding a niche and what's fun for you. And when it's fun, it doesn't seem so hard at all. So I'd never recommend farming whilst you make gold for the auction house. The amounts are bigger, but with this new auction house system, it's less easy than before. There is that competition of price, and being, if you can babysit your auctions and you don't mind the price that it's on, then yes, that would be still viable. But with the prices of things going down, it's probably less and less viable over time. Right, let's go through this. IV4on2, thank you very much for the follow. Hope you're doing well. Right, okay, so we've gone through here. Let's carry on with my characters and check the gold making. I've lost count of actually how much gold we've collected so far. El Morte is 119, so very close to 120 now, and we can start. We started on blacksmithing. Now I did have a whole load of stuff that I was trying to sell, that is just random stuff that's probably expired by now. So better relist that on, see if we got any more sales that way. Only ones to really sell in bulk are food and potions. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that sells in bulk other than the actual raw materials themselves. Would be the other thought. Let's have a look. Did we get any sales of the random stuff we sold? We have a few bits and pieces. Living steel, 23 of those for 14,000. That's going to help a lot with our gold at the moment. We're at 87,000. Let's take the expires for the moment. We'll deal with those presently. But we did get Sun's Radiant, Saronite Ore, River's Heart, and Living Steel cells, so that will be good for our blacksmithing journey, and then we'll post everything else back on. Let's just move out a little bit here, and then we'll post all this lot on. We'll come back to this character and do some either leveling, or we'll do some blacksmithing once I've just gone through all my characters. We'll have a look at this in a moment. If not, turn off autopilot. That can cause some freezes. That's a good point, actually, Darkwing. I will be doing that. Not necessarily on this character, though, because we're going to look for invasions. Not invasions, assaults. There's not an assault on at the moment, from the looks of things. Don't know when the next one is yet. But we could possibly do that. We still have 34 minutes left of our Taste of Victory buff, so I will not hang about too much on this character at the moment. We did just post everything on, didn't we? A whole lot of junk and stuff we need to get rid of. I'll deal with that later. The next is 1 AM my time. Okay, thank you, Silent Mouse. So we'll leave Almorta here for the moment. We can probably just do some regular questing to get myself the last half of an XP level to Faction Assault, that is. Thank you. Log out, and let's jump over to my vendor seller on the Horde side, Nadamas, who's made a little bit of gold this week. You sell off herbs Tuesday and Sunday mornings, craft potions to sell Tuesday, Sunday night, hit the competition at both ends. That's a good tactic, Serenid, I like that. So up early and get to it before work. Not a bad idea, Mushy. Although I'm struggling to get up early nowadays, now that I've gotten used to getting up later and then turning up to work later because I don't have the commute, I am enjoying my lie-ins a lot. So let's go over here. We have some expires. We also have some sales. So not a huge week in terms of vendor sales, 351 gold. But some of this vendor stuff is selling. Nylon thread, insulated wiring, enchanting vellum, fresh potatoes. So this is a very, very simple auction house flip, just using the vendor items. I'll go over, let's go over to the, no, we need to post our stuff on first. Hold on, let's fly over first to our vendor. Then we'll go and use our Brutosaur. We'll collect, no, we've got nothing on at the moment, so let's post everything on first. I think he can do a mythic. This character Nadamas, or do a mythic before going to work. Alarm rings at 7:45. School starts at 8:15. I could really get used to this. Yeah, it is very nice. I mean, I give myself an hour in the morning to get up, get dressed, and then get ready for work. But that 7 o'clock start is a lot nicer than a 5:25 start I used to have. So let me check my auctions. Everything is on. So we then check our vendor. I need to get a little bit closer. There we go. Use TSM and use our group. Vendor sell by groups. Just 4 fresh potatoes is all we need to restock up on. So we'll post those on. And there we go, at our current price, and then we'll go and park ourselves back inside out of the rain. There we go. Okay. Why not my PJs? I'll get a much better work focus if I actually go and get dressed, definitely. How do I do this undercutting, scanning, etc. on TSM? Can't seem to recall if you've seen a video on how to set it up. Well, TSM in your groups will automatically have included in, say, what have we got, vendor sell, in our auctioning operation vendor sell here. You will have an automatic, where is it, undercut amount, 0 coppers, not that, I mean, what's the one I'm actually thinking of? Cancelling, that's the one I want. Cancel undercut auctions and cancel to repost higher. So this is automatically by default checked. So all you have to do is any of your auctioning operations, you go in, so you have my posting group here, which is the vendor posting group. So if I go in here, I've already run a post scan because there's nothing else to post on, but with my auctions that are already on, I can then, instead of running a post scan, I can run a cancel scan, and it will go through and check to see if I've been undercut, or if anyone has posted after mine. And so each of these are all haven't been undercut, so they're all green. This one is below minimum price, so it's not going to cancel that one, and this one is above max price, so not undercut as well. So all of those are basically the cheapest at the moment, except for this one. So there's no reason to do that, and then you can basically go through and cancel any which have been undercut, and then using the scroll wheel macro, and then repost them on. It doesn't show anything for you when you do it, perhaps because your groups haven't been fully... that's it, you got it. Okay, fantastic. Dominiska, thank you very much for the follow. Hope you're doing well. Do I have a video on my vendor flip toon? I don't have one, Cat Meow Cat. That's a good idea though, to do one just for this character, because it's quite interesting. This 16,000 gold is not just from vendor flips, that's from a few other bits and pieces. But it is certainly worth an idea. I'll add that to the list. Hold on, can't fit through the door. There we go. Okay. Takio570, thank you very much for using your Twitch Prime. That's incredibly kind of you. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, have you selected the group is another one that often forgets me when it comes to cancelling. Also, something about the new auction house system. No, some gold makers dislike not having any advantage through pretty stacking and whatnot, but you think more as a customer than a gold maker, you really like the new auction house. Basically, Auctionator used to use, but integrated in-game and a lot faster. I would agree with that, Nabil. I think even if I can't do the things like pretty stacking, I do prefer the fact that it's way more convenient for the end user. So I think that is that pro outweighs the cons for me, certainly. Obvious question, but when I post an item on the auction house, do I pay a fee or is it a deposit? So there are two fees. There is the deposit cost, which you don't get back if you cancel the auction, and then there's an auction house fee that you get once the sale has gone through. So it costs you to post, which you don't get back, and then it costs you again when you sale, as a small percentage, which is why I tend to do all my crafting operations at 110% crafting. So that extra 10% takes into account the auction house fees, usually in enough of a small amount. Otherwise, I'll just be turning over the same gold. 37,000 gold from the rat boxes. Very nice, Silent Mouse. That's working pretty nicely. For recrafting cells, is it better to auction on the toon for all auctions on a single toon? I prefer to keep mine per character, but other people like to have like one banker toon that does things like that. You get the deposit back if the item sells. Do you? Oh, you do actually, don't you? Well, remember, thank you. Yeah. You send it all to your main. Yeah, I mean, it all depends on your preference, basically. Expose Orient, thank you very much for the follow. Thank you for stopping by. Right, let's jump off this character, because one thing I haven't done is restock on Samadan. So we've got my lower level characters here. This is Feng Shu, who I've been leveling with my wife, already at 35, going through Duskwood. Hellfire I need to do something with in terms of professions, the same as Bridget. When they get leveled up higher, but we'll focus here for the moment on my main professions. So let's restock on Samadan. I imagine there's quite a lot I need to restock here, so let's have a look and go through all of that. Did I do my mythic chest opening? I'm not sure I did. I might have to go and check that. I've just remembered. Let's go on a flying character and have a look. Actually, I could probably just Hearthstone to Borealis, it'll be easier. If you use an alt account for posting stuff, an auction house banker usually makes more sense, otherwise it's kind of personal preference. Yes, as Mr. Honkit said, I think it's just down to what you prefer, really. And you get 3k rep from turning an emissary now with a buff. That is a decent amount, really, isn't it? 3,000. Because it blocks some winners from getting in combat. It's very annoying. That's fair enough. Do whichever works for you. Can you auto send gold to a toon like you could in TSM3? There's a send excess gold to character as an operation, I believe. It's not something I use a lot myself. Let's have a look. Let's go and have a look into my mailing operations here. Oh, I've got a load of stuff here. Did I not post all of this stuff on? Looks like I'm missing a whole load of stuff here. Okay, there's the token I bought. Send groups. Mail selected groups. It's this one. Send excess gold to banker. So you can put in sort of like the name of the character. Say it was, I can't do Nadamas. Earthen or something like that. And then the limit is to keep 1 million gold on myself, I think, and then any excess gold will get sent to Earthen. I think it's that way around, definitely. This is just on top of the auction house babysitting, referring to the boxes you get from the reputation if you're already exalted. Yes, those ones. That's what I would use if I was going to do it, but I don't tend to use it myself. It looks like I had a whole lot of auctions here I didn't post on, so let me deal with those first. And then we can see what we've got left. Run a post scan on this lot. Get all of this back on the auction house. It's not going to sell if it's in my bags. And then we need to restock and stuff. How do I get a price on TSM for McDowell's Big Mac? I put a manual price in for the minnows, I think it is. I think I put something like 1 gold on, just so that I factored in my time it takes me to fly out over there and collect up a whole load with the minnow vac, and then get that stock, so I kind of give myself a little bit extra. So the idea would be to do world quests with a contract to earn as much rep as possible. I would say so, definitely. Enjoy making gold a lot, and a lot of alts send the gold to a banker, but leave 50k on each alt for the next week. That's an interesting idea of keeping it all together. I'm enjoying the reason I do it differently for my characters is it gives me like a rough gauge as to how well that profession is doing on that character, without doing a monthly summary. But then that's just my own personal preference, obviously. Each to their own into how they do it and what makes sense for them, certainly. Very eco-friendly fishing technique for the minnows. Yeah, using the background. Yeah, not exactly sustainable, is it? If you're thinking of it. Right. Okay. So we've got a couple of sales here. White wedding dress. Someone's getting married, and versatile navigation. So looking at this, everything is on. Let me just check my auctions. Now I got a feeling that my restocking is going to be quite a large amount of stuff here. So let's have a look. Let's do all of them. Cooking, enchanting, and tailoring. Restock those. Wow, there's a lot of enchants to restock on there. And some uncanny gear, a lot of that as well. It looks like we're not going to have enough for all of this. So gathering wise, let's look at enchanting first. We need, that's not too bad on failed crystals, we need 58. So I'm going to make these with my honourable sorceress scepters that we've been doing. So if I need 58, I'll make, let's make 60. That's going to be enough anyway. A baked potato has just sold, that's good. So let's create those to start off with, and then we'll disenchant from there. How many alchemists do you have? That's for... write up a list of another spreadsheet tab for each character, then add together the rounded down gold. That's fair enough. He was worried about TSM crafting things you didn't need. What was that for, Cow King specifically? Did I miss something further up? You can do it, definitely, Edward. Did I miss that? Did the math. If Shadowlands comes out October the 1st, you need to make 28k a day. You already make 11k from Anchorweed Transmute dailies, so 16k a day. Doesn't sound too bad. No, that's definitely doable. Definitely doable. You have to Wall of Draenor, go to Pandaria and Legion and do those for some extra stuff, yeah. Time to spend some time on the couch. Oh, thank you, Corsac, for stopping by. Hope you have a nice time on the couch, certainly. And Colt Engineer, thank you for the follow. Ward is good, certainly, as far as I understand it. Right, with all those made, we'll go and disenchant this huge lot of Honourable Sceptres and give ourselves some Veiled Crystals. We'll get more than we need here. We'll get sometimes 2 Veiled Crystals out of this, so we've already got 5 out of 3, or rather 6 out of 5, so that's doing very well at the moment. And with that you crossed 2.8 million. Excellent, Drizzling Rose, congratulations. Just keep that running through. Anchorweed transmutes, it's basically 5 of each of the lesser herbs being transmuted once a day into at least 10 Anchorweed, sometimes as much as 20 Anchorweed. Okay, Mushy, thanks ever so much for hanging by. I hope you have a good rest of your evening. No doubt be in chat, so keep you all updated. Lovely to hear it, Edward. Can you please save me from my Expulsum nightmare? Lurk on the phone, no problem, thanks. Thanks for being here, Mushy. Alright, we'll go through all of this lot, getting a fair amount of Veil Crystals here already. Think I'm alright for Gloom Dust at the moment. So these are for my main enchants. We'll get these on first, and then we'll see what else we have in terms of what we need to restock on. There may be some things we have to get from the guild bank or the auction house. There's some stuff that has been quite hard to come by for some of my enchants, so I'll have a look at those as well. But it'll be good to at least get these on first, because enchants are still doing well. Disenchanting 60 of these takes a little while. If you do less enchanting, then you'll need less Expulsum. That's top level thinking, that is, Mr. Honkit. It depends what kind of profit margins you have in your market, certainly. Do you keep the anchors for alchemy or sell them? I personally have been keeping them for my daily transmute. I haven't tried selling them personally, but then I don't have a large number of them doing the transmute. I've literally just had my one alchemist, and that seems to work for me. Wobble Frag, thank you for the follow. I love the name. Hope you're doing well. We're just going through and disenchanting some braces for our Veiled Crystals at the moment. Not too long now, just got a few more to do. Frizzin caught me online. Well, you have indeed. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for stopping by. Always thought my bag of anchors actually made those anchors that sent you to the bottom quickly. Actually made those anchors. Oh right, okay. The bag of anchors is the yeah, that's the thing that you open for your anchorweed. You made 350 per day. Never made a single BFA flask. Oh, there you go. Just selling the anchors for Drizzling Rose. Big fan. You've helped me make a lot of gold. Oh, good to hear. Certainly. Master Louis, I got a chair. I did indeed. I've moved upstairs. Although Oreo is kind of with me in spirit. He's behind me. He much prefers me being downstairs. Why am I doing crystals worth 120 for Expulsum worth 200? Is that my price that I've got at the moment? It's kind of like the main thing I'm doing here is, because you can't buy Expulsum, I'm converting things from one thing to another. I don't really mind the price of my Expulsum. If it's higher, I'm not sure if it actually is. Is it higher at the moment? 128 my Expulsum price is here. But the main reason I'm doing this is converting up my Umbra shards, which I have an excess stock of. I have like 3,400 in the guild bank and 2,600 on my person, so I really need to just turn this into something, because I can't sell that much of it, so I'm just turning it into veiled crystals, and this is the most effective way I can think of. Hope you can join me downstairs soon. It depends on how we get things set up really in the house, and how long the isolation lasts for, and how much longer I work from home. So those are all factors which I'm not fully in control with at the moment. Do I relist my auctions from every day or from time to time? Usually I have most things on a 48-hour posting. Some things less so, but I usually do a cancel scan of the more faster moving things each morning as part of my routine. You buy veiled crystals to use your Umbra shards. How does that work for you, Mushy? Do you use your veiled crystals and turn them into Umbra shards? Marsberg, good evening to you. But most you make yourself, yeah. That must be cheap then, certainly. Probably means less lockdown like issues like normal life returns. That is probably more likely, Darkwing, certainly. Alright, okay, I see. So, in terms of what I made there, that's fine. We still need a few things. We had a shortage of temporal crystals, so I should be able to pick up a load of those from my... now, I can't make these anymore because I haven't got my Transmute Master, so I might have to actually buy those. I can get those from the guild bank. Although those Sun's Radiance, do I have any on myself? Looks like I don't, so I might have to buy those at 99. Essence of Water was hard to come by last time I looked at. Currently at 130 gold mat cost. Min buyout is telling me 247. That might be okay to just buy one. Let me have a look. Let's do this in the... Is the guild bank my own personal one for storage? Yes, it is. This is the guild bank that all my characters make use of. So let's have a look here. Auctioning, shopping. Oh, I need the task list up here. So let's grab that. This is only actually enchanting. We need to look at everything else as well. Cooking and tailoring. There's a lot of stuff here that we need to possibly buy. So let's open up a task list for this. Actually, it's probably worth me going to the guild bank first. We've also got a daily cooldown to deal with there as well. So hold on, let's deal with this one step at a time. Work down the list. So Hexweave Cloth will do the daily cooldown of that. Temporal Crystal will do the cooldown of that, as we need so many of those. Then we can minimize that, and then a load of stuff from the guild bank here, in this big old list here. So let's take this, open up my guild bank, which is full of Tide Spray and Gilded Seaweave. So let's take up the things we do need here. Don't you have a guild bank on each of your alts? I am getting that way. My guild bank is full, so I may need to actually expand on this a little bit. Maybe just have something for each character. That's definitely going to be an option in the near future, I think. Actually, that reminds me, I could probably do with... I want to make another guild called Samadan Plays WoW for my alts. It might be worth seeing if people are around to be able to help with a guild charter on that. Tailoring crafts, let's do those. Buy from vendor, the rune thread and the fresh potato. Rune thread might be tricky. The buy from the auction house though, let's have a look at this. Most of this, hopefully if the prices are okay, we should be fine. So let's just scan for these. Instead of one with all your alts on it. Yeah, I can see the appeal, definitely, having one for each. So, anything of a decent price. It all looks quite expensive here. Strong thing in buying guild name change, you can name your alts the Softpaw family. That's nice. Definitely worth doing. Looking at garrisons today, strangely enough, it was a bit confusing working out which one you wanted to do on how many alts. Well, Drizzling Rose is the answer to your prayers on that one. So let's have a look here. What do I need? Imbued Frostweave, Temporal Crystals 35. We're not going to buy them at 15. The Wild Jade is quite expensive there at 337. I have 20 on the auction house myself, so I can't buy my own here. So I might have to actually use Almorte to get those. a lot of this is my cooking here. So fatty bear steak, 2 of those. There's 246 on, so we can just take the 2 we need here. Let's just keep it minimal for now. Rubbery flank, we need 40, so that's at standard price of 40 gold. It's quite expensive. I'll buy 40, just what I need. And rubbery flank 40, yeah, we'll buy that. Shoulder ISO, we need 39. Now 4 gold 30 is a little bit high for my silkweave satchels. I would rather it a little bit less than that. 3 gold 50 would be ideal. So I might leave that. And essence of water, I just need the 1, so I'm going to buy that at 247 at the high price. And hope that my enchanting profits will be fine for that one. And then Sun's Radiance, Shar Crystal, and that is all for the... That is for enchanting, crafting. It's one of these. Secrets of the Shadow Pan needs the Sun's Radiance. Tome of Illusions Azeroth needs the Essence of Water. And Tome of Illusions Draenor needs the Temporal Crystals. So what needs the... There we go, the Wild Jade and the Shard Crystals from there. So let's take one of the Pandaria ones out. And that should be fine for most of those. Okay, so let's at least craft some of these whilst we're here. And then we can deal with the other stuff in a moment. Actually, let's get the stuff from the mailbox first. We can deal with that. Run through all of this. I know I've missed out on chat for a minute there, so let me just go through that in a moment. Isn't it just cheaper to transmute the gems yourself? That's the idea, Mr. Honkit. I mean, we do have Awakening who could possibly do that. I think he's picked up the recipes. We used to do that on my other character, El Morte, who has the transmutes them. For some reason you can't see the average buy on the tooltip for Tide Spray Linen. Interesting. Check your settings for that. So under your groups and... no. Settings, tooltip settings, accounting, all of those should be checked. Auctioning values, value sources, main settings, group name, vendor buy price, all of those. Accounting, yeah, where's the auctioning? Crafting, all of those I tend to have on. And then under accounting, where's the... Oh, that's under accounting here. I was thinking smart average there. I was looking in the wrong place. Yeah, they're all ticked. No idea. Okay, maybe you don't have an average buy price for that character, perhaps. How do you set up a good sniper string? You constantly get internal auction error. Are you trying to sniper the whole default group, Epos Orion? Because as we said on the Wowhead blog earlier today, and TSM put out a blog post about it, the way sniper works is slightly different now. I would recommend condensing that into something slightly smaller group of items. So if you don't have an average buy, what do you enter in the bracer sheet? Just go with the market value, the DB market value for your region. Okay, so we've got this, we've got that. Shalderai silk is coming from my tailoring. So I'm going to just take, just sold a Bursal navigation. I'm going to take the silkweave satchels off. We can make 2 of them with what I've got in stock, so that's fine, I'll keep with those. Rune thread, flying carpet needs the bolt of imbued, frostweave, and fragrant needs the fresh potato, which I'm just going to buy from the vendor now. And buy from the vendor, buy what I need there. Rune thread we need to go to probably Dalaran, I imagine, to get that. We also need to visit our garrison to pick up our hexweave and our temporal crystals, our fractured temporal crystals. This is Digby, thank you very much for the follow. I noticed your leatherworker using my string that when you try to restock it insists on making diver suits and a couple of other BFA items at 50 gold loss each. Don't know what's up with that, using region value instead of market. It could be something in my group that I haven't set up very efficiently on that front. I think I might... I think if I recall, for those particular ones that I've set them for just the turn-ins to be, so I don't think I craft them with any minimum price. I'll have to check the operation to know for sure, but that's my first gut feeling on that. So let's get Tailoring Emporium. Let's just minimize this for a moment so I can see these. I want to get these two rush work orders in Charter Study and Tailoring Emporium going, so we can keep those ticking through. We don't really need XP at this point. Most people are okay, so I can leave that as it is. And then let's head on round to my character and pick up some more resources. Gusselin, how are you? Cheers, mate, favourite goblin. That's very kind of you. How are you? Thanks for stopping by. Let's get our resources. After you restock the auction house, items stay there. When you click restock selected groups, does it not detect you already have the items on the auction house? It should do. What I would suggest is when you list everything on the auction house, before you go to restock selected groups, close down the auction house, reopen it up, look at your auctions again so that TSM can see your new auctions are on, and then go and restock them. That tends to be a routine that I get into that works quite well for me. The operation when you post them does say turn in, but you're on high pop, so they're rarely worth making, it seems. Yes, in which case I would disregard those if it's not worth it for you. So it could have been something to do with that I'm crafting them without a profit, regardless of profit. So let's pick up some of these and pick up some of these. So this is our hexweave cloth and our fractured temporal crystals, which we're going to turn into temporal crystals. We just need to restock on all of this now. Where's my trainer? You're usually hiding somewhere. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Create all on that. We're running low on sumptuous fur. We also need to go and head over this way and speak to you and create all there. Then we can use our rush work order for those three, and then check on our extra hex weave that we just picked up from that. So get a whole load more there. So we should have enough to make at least a couple of bags from that, and then restock on that again. Then that's all of those. I've got a load of herbs over there I don't need to bother with at the moment. I'm still having problems understanding how to properly restock using TSM. Any of my videos talk about that. Using my TSM guide should go through the whole restocking process on TSM4. No, that's the wrong one. Exclamation learn. That guide there, my YouTube series, I'm getting started with TSM4. There, the crafting and professions crafting one should work for you on that one. Seeing people posting stuff really low to bait people to match the price so they can snipe them and then repost later. Some people were talking about it in trade chat. Yes, it does happen, Edwards the Monk. I don't usually do it myself for huge amounts, and I certainly don't do it necessarily deliberately, but I will sometimes, if I'm buying items, buy one slightly less. Simpal buying another long boy hoodie. Wow, helps you out as much as it helps me with my collection of hoodies. Thanks for the hard work you put into your streams, videos and posts on Wowhead. Well, thank you, Zimpal, that is incredibly kind of you. Thank you. I see a load of emotes for use. Oh, that wasn't enough. Let's do a whole load more. It seems when I click it, it doesn't always come through. There we go, let's try a few more. There we go, thank you, Zimpal. Very kind of you. It doesn't track that the expired mail are no longer in the auction house, so when you log in, so if you've forgotten WhatsApp as well, you just have to kind of go through a couple of times. Sakamaka, thank you very much for the follow. Hope I got your name right. Is this Garrison? You're a new player. How do you get the Garrison? This is a level 90 thing for Walls of Draenor. So once you've got them there, it is useful. I use it for getting myself hexweave to make myself hexweave bags, and fractured temporal crystals to make me certain enchants. So from my list of stuff here, I'm going to actually head over to Dalaran now that I've got that done. I'm going to pick up some rune thread, and it's a slightly quieter area as well. And then we can finish up our crafting and restock on all of Samadan's bits and pieces here. So all in all, we want to basically make sure that we've got all our characters restocked. So I'm going to head on over to the tailor first, I think. So let's go round here and go to the tailoring vendor. This is the easiest way to get a rune thread whilst I'm here. I'll probably buy a stack or two of it. What do we need? Rune thread? Yeah, so let's have a look. Standard interface. Coarse thread, heavy silken, eternium, runic catgut, rune thread. Let's take a stack of that. That will keep me in stock for a while. And then we'll come back over here. Do you find that enchanting is still good for older expansions? Yes, it certainly is, especially for the levelling enchants. I have a whole list of different stuff on there. If you look at my enchanting deep dive video that I did on YouTube, that goes through a lot of the stuff I did there. Okay, temporal crystals, sun's radiance. Okay, so I was going to put those in my reagent bank. That's why I flew here.
Need help?
So I'll go to my reagent bank. This is why I need more guild bank storage. It's so full. And we're going to pop that stack in there so I can access that later. When you've been stocking up on Pyrian Bar True Gold for the Bar of the Sands, but never really gotten around to actually get the recipe. Yes, I've not got the recipe yet myself. That's another thing to go through. How do you make the hex weave in the garrison? So you have to set up a tailoring emporium and go from there, basically. Any links to the video about enchanting? So let me have a look, see if I can find it specifically, and I guess I'll search for it. Would be my first thought. There we go. Enchanting deep dive. Copy link address. It's quite old, 10 months, but it's still valid. Let's go through that. There you go. That's a link to it. Hope that's useful. And Sodi43, thank you for the follow. Starting to get to the point where this stockpile just stupid to keep around. Yeah, well, you better get yourself the Vial of the Sands recipe, definitely. At level 90 you can go to Ashran and learn the daily on your craft, and then there's a building, level 2, with a follower for 100% more. That's a good summary version of it, definitely, as Rose said. Resisting the urge to buy 10,000 zenithid at 14 gold per now. It is tempting, certainly. I know my stock levels are quite high at the moment, so I'm going to have to see how I get on with the same myself on this server. So we've got a whole load of raw materials here. Fractured temporal crystals is what I'm looking for at this point now. Where are they? Here they are. I've got 109 of them, so I can make 10 temporal crystals out of this. It's not really enough for what I need. I need another 20 odd, so that's going to be quite difficult to get unless I find some more on the auction house. So let's have a look here. You see, you have the rank 3 tailors who probably did this in WOD but forgot. That's fair enough. So let's have a look at shopping. Let's look at temporal crystals. So temporal crystals, garrison is my main source for this, ideally. I'm going to see if we can find any fractureds, which are here at 94 silver, so that's less. That'll be 9 gold per temporal crystal, so that's fine. I'll buy all of those at 122. I'll avoid the one for 1 million. That's way too expensive. That will at least give me a few more. I'll pick up those. Now, looking at my bag, I have another 13 I can make. So we're still slightly low. We can't make everything we need here, but we've at least got a few more. then we could possibly consider buying some more temporal crystals. That might help in terms of just getting myself into the stock levels I want. We are needing only another 12 more actually, so let's have a look at that again. So temporal crystals at 15 gold, 90. This is going to be used for, let me see what the profit margins and what I'm going to use it for first. So Secrets of the Shadow Pan, so it's going to be Tomes of Illusions, Draenor is one of them. Then there were some other things that use the temporal crystals in this list, Gift of Haste being one of them. So I'm going to buy a few of these up, buy the 12 I need. Just check that it's 12 I need at the moment. Yes, it is 12. So let's buy 12 at this price. 190 gold. And then we've got a whole load of other bits to make here. So let's go through, collect that up. We're almost there here. Zenithid could rebound in price at some point, since lower prices, less farmer. I think, Navel, there's going to be a flaw, certainly. Where that flaw is, I'm not sure yet. Profession transfer service, how can you get your old tailor back onto your main character? That's a good idea, actually. Profession transfer, I like that. Although, how would you handle the reputations if you needed reputations to get certain things and then you move to another character that doesn't have them? Because otherwise you could have a character that has all the reputations, could then go and buy everything and then port that profession over to a character that has no reputations. Whenever you see temporal crystals on the auction house, you just buy them up. Yeah, I can be tempted to do that myself, definitely. What are the good ward garrison huts for gold making, tailoring and enchanting? So basically those two, the tailoring emporium and the enchanter's study, are the ones I use for the hexweave cooldown and the enchanting temporal crystal. The hexweave bags basically is what I use that for. If only we would threaten us with account-wide reputations, that could be interesting. I wonder how that would work out. It certainly would make things easier, but then that's not necessarily the best. Okay, so I'm almost there. Tailoring crafts. Let's make a few of these. Switch to the standard interface for these. Bolt of Frostweave. Bolt of Frostweave. There, I can make 12. I'll create those to start off with. Then 2 bolts of silk cloth. That's already on my list here. To start with the bracelet shuffle, how much should you spend on the materials? Start small and work up from there. So only buy, say, I don't know, 1,000 Tide Spray if you're using Tide Spray braces first, and then only make what you need to do after that. Would be my first thought, really, and just see how it works out for you, and see how the enchants sell on your server. A bolt of imbued frostweave, 6 of those. And then the last thing on the list is the Sun's Radiance, which will get El Morte to do a council scan on 2 of those and send them back to Samadan. That should be easy enough. Given the main map is real cheap, anything less than 2 gold. Yeah, it depends on the price of your Tide Spray, really. Okay, Sun's Radiance. Let's quickly log out, jump back into El Morte, and take those Sun's Radiances off, and then send them back to Samadan. So here we go, let's run through this. Junior Jacob G's Jurga, thank you very much for the value. Love the name. And we're going to go for council scan first here. So let's take this and go for my auctions and search for Sun. I'm sure I had Sun's Radiance on here. Did I not have any? It was Sun's Radiance I was after, wasn't it? Maybe I don't. Let me just have a look. Don't have any on me. Hold on. What was I missing here?
Needs to be at least 2 centuries old.
Okay, let's try and remember what it was I was actually looking for and go back here. Yeah, he had the Wild Jades, but I was pretty sure it was Sun's Radiance I needed as well. I took off what required the Wild Jade because I had enough. I took off one of the Tome of Illusions Pandaria. I did need 2 of them, but I took one of them off. So I'm just going to make 1 of them. But maybe it was the Sun's Radiance that I didn't have. Let's have a look. Okay, Drizzling Rose, thanks ever so much for stopping by. Write me on Twitter if you've got a question. Excellent, thank you for offering your services, Drizzling Rose. I hope you have a good rest of your evening. And thanks again for stopping by. So, yes, it was Sun's Radiance from the auction house we were suggested. Okay, let's go and see if we can buy that. See what price it is. Go to shopping and scan all of these. So Sun's Radiance at 99 gold. Okay, that's more reasonable. Yes, that was the one at 60 gold crafting cost. So let's do that. We'll buy 2 of those. That's easy enough to do at this stage. It's within my profit margins, I believe. And then we'll go here and pick up that. And then everything is done on this character, so we can then start crafting it all. So everything we have: Uncanny Combatants, Bracers, Cloak, Boots, Mittens, Belts. Is that everything done? No. Let's just reload that. I think we got stuck on that last one. Oh no, we didn't. There we go. Satin belts come through. Enchanted Mage Weave pouch. 4 nether weave bags. So I changed it to making plans BOA, or make a system so it's just crazy easy to farm rep. Old rep isn't just done by grinding mobs anyway. In the Garrison Tailor hut, how many hexweave do I get for the 5 sumptuous fur? Mine works out because I've got the extra extra level follower in there. It's got the tailoring specialization. It turns out for me that it's about 1 sumptuous fur equals 1 hexweave, which is why I price my hexweave at the same price of my sumptuous fur. Oh, Mr. Honkit, thank you very much for using your Prime. Oh well, better get back to my book. Enjoy the rest of your stream. Well, thank you, Mr. Honkit, for hanging out tonight. Lovely to have you here. I have a whole lot of emotes for you. Thank you for resubbing with your Prime. It's very much appreciated. Right, we're done there. So let's carry on with our silkweave satchels. A couple of those. Azure silk hood. Another favourite transmog item. White wedding dress. Flying carpet. Various tailoring items here. Ghostly spell thread. I don't remember selling that, but that's always good to see. Something different selling for once. Cooking's a fair mix of Big Mech, Fragrant Cacavia and Biltong. A couple of Bear Tartar in there as well, which is interesting. So Ghostly Spell Thread, Otherworldly Bag, and then jump over to our cooking. Make sure Pierre's with us. I'm sure. Oh, he was already out. There we go. Let's try that again. Big Mac, Fragrant Cacavia, and Biltong, and the Bear Tartar. You can give your custom if you have max follower. Oh, thank you, Darkwing, for sharing. Right, on to the big one, enchanting. Tells me a 29,000 profit for all of these. That's a lot of enchants for not a massive profit, not like it used to be back in Legion and the early days of BFA. Prices and profits have definitely gone tighter since the BFA is coming towards the end, but still it's a profit, so I'm not complaining. It's worth it for me at the moment to carry on with this, so I will. We've got a lot of Machinist Brilliance, a Chord of Critical Strike, a Chord of Haste, so a lot of things here. Should the follower in the Tailoring Emporium be epic quality, or is a level 100 green sufficient? I'm not sure about the type of follower. I think they just have to have the tailoring specialism. That's the main thing. Sky, thank you very much for the follow. Ring enchants on your servers, only 40 gold profit. Still worth crafting if you buy mats. If you can sell enough in volume, then it's worth it. Especially if you're buying the mats, it doesn't take you long to buy them at all. Once you take into account crafting fees and auction house fees and stuff like that, it's a small margin for sure, but it all depends. Just sell more. Enchanting is great profit here. Exactly. Just keep selling. Or, like Jack says, another good idea is try to buy the mats by asking in trade chat. You can usually get a better deal that way. The difference between the profit at end of Legion compared to the end of BFA couldn't be more stark. It's very interesting because towards the end of the Legion, that was when I found out about the Brutosaur mount. And that was when I started seriously trying to get the gold for it. I'm sure many of you remember that time. And Jack was helping me out with alchemy back then. So I did find quite a few different ways to make gold in Legion towards the end. But that said, I'm still making a reasonable amount of gold currently in BFA with my professions as I have them. And I can only see that getting better as I have more professions as well. Derptronics, thank you for the follow. I hope you're doing well. Tell them they don't have to pay the deposit and the 5% cut. Exactly. Followers level matters, but can't figure out if it's worth leveling it beyond 100. Oh right, Netherwings. I didn't realise that. Maybe someone else who does know might be able to help you. Quick wow like 4 times during the end of Legion. I believe it was just the once. Alright, okay, so let's post everything on. The follower levels in the crafting huts will level from the items queue. Yes, that is true actually. That's how it happens. So that's yours for DB 50 times DB market plus 10 times. So that's the Gorgon fly trap divided by 6 times 2 plus 20. Okay, so is that the many? Is that how many you get? That seems to make sense. I see how that works, Darkwing. Will crafting have ranks in Shadowlands? We don't know, Lyridon, yet. All signs so far don't point to ranks, but obviously Blizzard may well change that in the future. Anyone have a nice mass mill macro? Yours doesn't seem to work. I don't tend to use mass mill as a macro. I simply just press it myself and let it run. Right, so let's post everything on. As we've just gone through and made everything, we might as well. So run a post scan on all of the stuff we just made. See if we can generate some sales. And then, look at the time. I hadn't realised we spent the entire evening just restocking, and I haven't even done anything on levelling or anything like that. Let's go through and just post all of this lot on first, and then think about what we can just do to finish up. We could possibly look at blacksmithing for a little bit, or I can go back to Awakening, check to see if I get a Silas proc. That would be useful. So all of that's on. Use that since Garrison made. Which operations do you use for auctioning? Herbs and ores. I will use just like a standard one that uses DB Market. Leo and Miglio. That would be my main one if I was trying to sell things in mass, really. Oh, were you trying to say that earlier, Silent Master? Did I miss that? Oh, there we go. Hexweek bag gone straight away for 999 gold and 99 silver. I think I can probably make another one, as that sold so quickly. Hexweave bag. Yeah, I can make actually another 2. So let's make those and get those on. No point keeping them on at the moment. And sell another 2 if we can. With all that we got from the garrison. That's a good start. So another 2 on there. That should be good. You quit for the moment on Silas. All flasks and potions are at a loss and you're on for the past week. You said don't forget the clock. What an inopportune one to miss in the chat, but thank you, Silent Mouse. Thank you for the reminder. So, thankfully I can say we're done on all the reposting on here. So let's go on over to Awakening, just in case we get a Silas proc, you never know. Anyone tried doing arbitrage on the battle pet market as a way of gold making battle pets on high pop servers? Learn them, uncase them on lower pop server and sell them at a profit. I don't have experience with that myself personally, but I know it is a technique that works. I know Breg Vids has done it himself, and I know a few other people do. Right, fingers crossed. Silas has a continuous curing, sadly. Okay, so no luck on that front. Let me just check on my potions. I might have to do a restock on them. Most of this is below min price anyway, so I'll run a council scan. We have been undercut on a couple of them here, so I might as well take the ones that have been undercut off and put them back on again whilst we're here. Growth Spiral, thank you very much for the follow. Hope you're doing well. I'll take those off, see if we can just squeeze a bit closer. Take the councils. You never know, someone doing some late night mythics might need some potions, so it's always a good idea to post them on. We'll get that lot going. You don't have mass milling learned yet to pressing the mill, and then herb is a lot slower than a macro, but mine doesn't seem to work. Don't know why. You can TSM destroy mills, right? Yes, you can, Megan. That is your alternative. Thank you for clarifying that. Right, let's get that lot on. Enjoy the grind of RuneScape and competing for ranks against some of your other friends, but a long time that game. That is a long time, definitely. Your window won't open. Try typing /TSM destroy. So /TSM destroy. I don't know if that will actually work. You did, okay. Let me check on because when I go over to let's go over whilst we're here. Let's try that out. To Samadan. Usually when I log straight into Samadan, if I've got some herbs on me, the TSM destroy window will automatically pop open. So I would expect the same to happen with you when you're logging into the character. You did for a while, Alizel. Excellent. Yeah, a /reload might help, as Wave has suggested. So I don't have any /TSM destroy. Type that in there, and there it pops up, and I've got my Anchorweed, Major Oil, Riverbird, Star Moss. I probably want to make sure I ignore that, actually. Shift left click to ignore that permanently. I'm going to do the same with the Major Oil as well, actually. I don't want to do that just yet. Uncheck auto looting in settings. Oh, I haven't heard of that one, Silent Mouse. Handy to make a macro for that, certainly. Trying a reload now. If you just type in /reload, that should work. So /reload like that, and then it will automatically reload for you. Oh, that wasn't for the reload. That was for that was for something else. Hold on, I'm behind on chat. Makes less sense. In settings, let's have a look, and destroying. Where's auto loot? It's not something I remember seeing, actually. Enable automatic stack combinations, so destroying frame automatically. Maximum disenchant quantity epic. It's not ignored in your ignored list, perhaps. That could be another thing to think about. Thought you wanted to delete your herbs. I only realised later that it was milling. Yeah, calling it destroying isn't... Okay. It's not in there either. Yeah, whether you have the items in your... Do you have the items in your bags to meet the destroy criteria, as Dark Queen suggested? That could be another one. Oh, under WoW settings. Oh, really? Interface controls auto loot. Does that make a difference? Disabling auto loot worked. Interesting. So in terms of here, system, was it system? What was it? You said interface. Hold on, cancel interface. Auto loot. See, I have that checked. I don't have that issue. Maybe that's an interesting one. Okay. Strange. Well, thanks for that, Silent Mouse. Good to know. TSM Destroy doesn't work for you with auto loot. Oh, right. Uncheck it. Okay, let's try that. So, Interface, auto loop unchecked. Okay, return to game. Slash TSM destroy. There we go. Still pops up at the moment. Okay. How am I this evening? I don't know if I'm being too greedy here, but I was wondering if I have a way of setting up an operation TSM that figures out the cheapest mats for getting expulsion, e.g. tie-state bracers, leatherwork bracers, and then makes you able to scan the auction house for the mats, as in a shopping operation. Perhaps you made a video about that at some point. I did indeed. Talking about that, it is about the bracer super shuffle. You can find that video on my YouTube channel. So if you go to my YouTube channel, there'll be a number of videos on the bracer shuffle as I go through my evolution of that, and then the actual spreadsheet itself is there. And then if you look at my paste bins, go through all the links here, paste bins, I do have a shopping operation in there that goes through all my buying of that. So hopefully that flurry of links should give you everything you need. And that about, oh no, I've got another 5 minutes yet, so we're all good on that front. So let's have a look. What can we do in that last 5 minutes? Probably not a great... Oh, we have an expulsum thing here for 10 storm silver ore. That could be interesting for some of my characters. Storm silver ore and expulsum. How much is storm silver ore? Storm silver ore is currently at 9 gold, so for 10, did it say? For 10 storm silver ore, so for 90 gold I can get 5 expulsum. That would be worth it, I would say. Do I have any in the guild bank? I have 18 in the guild bank. Let's just buy some of these for now. We'll use that, so I'll buy 10. I'll buy the 9 there. And then I'll buy 1 from here. There we go.
If you find anything exotic,
Level blacksmithing for 5 minutes. That is another option. Silent mouse. I'm just going to go through and get this expulsum because it's going to be useful for my some of my characters at least. Anyway, so we'll take the purchases from there. Then we'll head back on over the top. I do like flying up and over. And storm silver ore. We can take that. Supplies needed for the expulsum there. Now I'm going to check this on Samadan and on Earthen if it's the same. So let's just log out here and jump through these as quick as I can. Samadan, oh, you're in Dalaran, so we'll have to go to Hearthstone from that. Mixolus, thank you very much for using your Prime. Thank you very much indeed. Lovely to have you on board. There's a whole load of emotes for you there. Thank you very much indeed for your support. It really is appreciated. Okay, so Storm Silver ore. Let's just check that we have this on all our characters. I've got a feeling we should have. That's not the place I want to be. Let's head on back and Hearthstone through here. And then we'll run through this and hopefully... we should have a look and do something. Alright, let's have a look at the map first. Yes, we do have the Storm Silver ore here, which is good. Let's borrow a Brutasaur, as there's multiple ones hanging out here. Let's just buy another 10 here. So we'll buy 10. No, it's 11. We need 10. Buy out. We'll take that and we'll buy that. Pick up our purchases. And then we'll fly on our flying carpet. And go around this way. And then we can do that for another 5 expulsum. Just nice and cheap, and then we can go back to another character and jump through this. Pummelhead, thank you very much for using your Prime. Next character I want to do this on is Earthen. That should be enough for the moment. And Technaro, a bit late to the show, but very nice to have you here. Thank you very much. You had it on all your alts, something you check every day. What was that for? Did I miss? Such a wonderfully calm, relaxed, helpful person. Thank you so much for being you. Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you to say so. It just boosted my new Shadowlands boost, and don't know how to get your garrison and start making gold there. Any clue how to get to the garrison? So there is an easy way. Well, kind of easy way. You need to go from Pandaria. Ignore the autopilot there. You go to the Timeless Isle, and from just off the end here, there's some pirate ships, and you go into the water, off to the left of the pirate ships, and go underwater, and you look down, and you'll see a cave. You go into that cave, and there is a teleport that will take you to Ashran, where you can start your garrison off. That's kind of like a shortcut. Earthen, Storm Silver ore, 10 of those. Buy them out. I'll take those, and then go in here. It's quite difficult to find until you know where it is, but it's definitely it's a nice easy way of getting your garrison started without having to go through all of the initial quests and scenarios. So we'll go here, and we'll take that, and we'll continue with that, and get ourselves some more Expulsum. Fantastic. That was a good use of our time at the end. Excellent. And another load of Expulsum for everyone. For you, very important thing about knowing your market is trying to understand why items are in demand. That's a very good point, Navel, definitely. Correct way to go to the portal in the Blasted Lands and speak to Khadgar. Yeah, that's probably the correct way, Navel. Right, okay. So I think that's me wrapped up pretty much at, how long does it take to level 1 to 120? It's very fast at the moment. I'm not a speed leveler by any sense, but me and my wife have been leveling casually, and we're already at level 35. So I say it's not too long at all. I'm going to finish up there, so thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. Your presence has been most wonderful. Let's see who is on at the moment. Is there someone we can throw a host on over to? The Lazy Goldmaker is on. Don't often get a chance to throw a host over to them. Let me just check they are on. Prep for Shadowlands later. Blackwing Glare, then Zolgurb. Okay, let's let that run through. And let's set this up. Okay, slash raid. Okay, well, let that go through. Calm and great t-shirt. Well, thank you. Yes, it's very kind of you to say so. Thank you all. See you soon on stream and other Discords. Yes, thank you for all your support you do on the Discord, Darkwing Gen. Really, it really is appreciated. And thank you also, Isegrim, for the follow. Hope you're doing well. We are literally just finishing up now, so thank you all. Have a great rest of your evening or afternoon or morning, wherever you are. My next stream will be on Tuesday, the first Sunday of the week, the second Sunday of the week, as we'll say. Is this the first Sunday? I'm not sure. Whatever day it is, my next one will be on Tuesday. So not too long, and we'll catch up on a bit of a gold making. And maybe I'll even be able to do a 3D stream soon and see how that goes. So until next time, we're going to send a raid over to Lazy Goldmaker. So thank you all, and I will see you next time. From myself and the Sleeping Oreo, I wish you good night and farewell. Right, let's get that kicked off. Marvellous. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you next time.